Drengir, Blight, and the Nameless Oh My, Genrovis. It's time to die. Everyone, welcome back to another High Republic-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And I'm Grace.
And we are back with the High Republic adult novels book reviews. Book 5, Temptation of the Force.
Oh, I don't have
Drew, you got a button?
I
Oh,
do
come
have a
on. Well, okay. And we are back. Yes. So it's been like, a couple months since we did 3 months or so since last time we did one, The Eye of Darkness. And Grace was with us then for that review. And we're like, she loves these books. We love having her talk about these books. So we had her back on for this book review. And so we're excited. And sorry for being a little late, but I was a very healthy person, but these two people got sick and had to cancel. And so we postponed it. So we are a few days late, but it'll be up. And then in a few days, we'll be doing another episode. So you'll be technically getting 2 episodes in 1 week this week. So
depends if your week starts on Sunday.
Well, it's not going up till Monday. So.
Oh, well, then yeah, too.
Unless you're listening to a live stream.
Yes.
Then. Fun.
Are you guys one of those people that your week starts Monday?
Yes.
Yeah, because in the U.S. the week starts on
yeah.
Monday. Are you?
Well,
are you
Thank you. No, I am too. But my wife's like, no, it's Sunday. I'm like,
it's technically Sunday is the first day of the week. If you look at a calendar, it's Sunday
it's
through
stupid,
Saturday.
Though. It's dumb though.
Oh, that's so interesting. You're right.
And so the weekend, it's technically
it's Friday and Saturday.
No, technically a weekend is like on the ends of the week.
Oh,
so Sunday is one end, and then the other end is Saturday.
Saturday.
Book stand like holding them all together.
Mind blown, right?
Wow, is that real or did you just make that up?
That's 100% real.
Wow.
I don't know if do you guys like Chuck Norris jokes?
I don't know what that is, but go for it.
You know who Chuck Norris is?
You don't know who Chuck Norris is?
You know who Chuck
Not
Norris
an athlete?
Is that?
Yes, technically. So one of my favorite Chuck Norris jokes is when Chuck Norris was a kid, he skipped 2 days of school, and now we call that the weekend.
Oh my!
Drew thinks it's funny. Grace doesn't understand why it's funny.
Chuck Norris?
Grace, who's Chuck Norris? That's more crazy to me. Jeremiah, we're old. So Grace, the beginning of this, as we were talking and we're setting up the podcast, you were complaining and like Jeremiah was calling you old and you felt old. You are not old if you don't know who Chuck Norris is. Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing old about you right now.
You gotta look up Chuck Norris jokes. They're super funny.
Look at Chuck Norris.
Yeah, is he a football? Is he a football?
No, he's
player?
an actor.
He's an actor / like martial artist, but now he's like in the 70s. But,
this man is. How would I know who this is? He looks like he was alive in like World War II. He literally was.
So like he's just known as like it's hard to explain, but all these crazy Chuck Norris jokes out there, like Chuck Norris
will know who Chuck Norris is.
Like Chuck Norris, he counted to infinity twice. He's the only person that can punch you in the back of the face. Stuff.
I don't get it.
When God said, "Let there be light," Chuck Norris said, "Say please." Like it's so stupid. It's just stupid jokes like that.
Why are they funny? I don't know. Okay,
because Chuck Norris is like unbeatable. So then, like, the whole premise of that is that he's just the best in the world.
I would ask you if you know about the most interesting man in the world commercials, but you probably don't know those either. The Dos Equis commercials.
No.
Kind of like that, but
okay.
Yeah, it's just like a running thing that Chuck Norris is the best. Okay. But he was on a show called Rocket. No. what is it called?
I don't know. We gotta move on.
Texas Ranger.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Walker, that was the word.
Back in the 90s, I watched that show. Okay. Anyway, we're going on a long tangent. We could do a whole Chuck Norris podcast one day, but not tonight.
Next time. Side one, and we just like break down that show.
We gotta get Grace on the show.
Hilarious, dude. That might be a new thing.
Then get him on the podcast for an interview. That'd be so fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're here for a book review in the High Republic, so let's do that. But we also have some news that we want to go over that was announced this week. So we finally got a release date for Skeleton Crew, the next live action TV show that we're getting. What do you mean?
It's so far away.
Oh, it is.
I thought you were just already negative on it.
Well,
so it's
maybe that too.
Coming in December. So I have high hopes for the show. I think it's going to be very good because it's like Stranger Things / The Goonies meets Star Wars type of thing. So
if they do it like that, I'm going to be excited. But if they do it like a Disney kids show, then I'm not going to be happy about it.
No, it's not going to. I don't think it's going to be a bunch of kid stuff, but it's going to be more of a drama, I believe. Some say it's going to be more closer like Andor. But I don't know.
I'm okay with that.
We don't got a lot of information. We just know it takes place during the Mandoverse era, and so hopefully that connects that, and hopefully it's connected to Thrawn stuff too. There's rumors for that, but.
Yeah, how connected would you guys want it to be versus like how much would you want it to just be its own story about these kids in space?
So the brief synopsis or something or whatever like states that like they discover something, and so we're hoping that they come across the Grisk from the Thrawn.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Which if they do that, then it's going to be a confirmation that the whole Thrawn movie and stuff is Thrawn gathering all the galaxy together to fight the Grisk, which we hope is the main story that the Mandoverse is moving towards. But we don't know. It's starring Jude Law, so this is like a big name actor that's probably the biggest name actor for Star Wars, like since Disney took over. Like, there's a lot of great actors, but they're kind of more.
Mark Hamill was in episode 7, 8, and 9. Okay. He's known for being the Joker. Okay, but I don't count 8. I forgot.
He's a returning character, but for like new actors in the Disney.
No, era. I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
So we're excited for that. I haven't looked up like how many episodes, but I'm assuming it's 8, but probably for sure 6. So we'll be doing those breakdowns and
December,
and then probably flows into January. But one of those episodes will be coming out on Christmas Eve. On a Tuesday, and then Christmas is on Wednesday. So Drew and I are gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do that.
That's gonna be fun to figure out. Don't worry, I'll probably get delayed again, and then we'll figure it out later.
No, it's not gonna get delayed.
It's weird that they announced the date and images, but not a trailer.
Yeah, it's weird that there's no trailer. I agree. Did they maybe show a trailer at Comic-Con, but like it's not available to the public?
There's like leaked ones like. That were at like
did they do that
a while ago, and then like I think something came out recently, but like
because San Diego Comic-Con was like the same time when they announced it,
right?
So maybe there was like a trailer, but then I feel like we would already saw like leaks, someone recording that.
I'm sure you could probably YouTube it.
Yeah, I haven't looked. I bet it's out there.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited, but it's like Drew was saying, it's a long time away. So we're gonna have to try and find as much content for you guys because we got like 4 months. So
there's nothing animated at all that's coming out.
No, because they just finished Bad Batch. So I'm guessing we're not gonna get an animated thing until next year sometime.
We probably won't even get an announcement of it until
because next year is Star Wars Celebration. So there'll be tons of announcements next. Was it April or May or whatever when Star Wars Celebration is? So, like,
yeah,
we're a long ways away. But, yep, that's the big news. And so, stay tuned. All right. But we are here for Temptation of the Force.
What a title.
Yep. I was like, there's a picture of Elzar and Avar on the front. I'm like, what kind of temptation are we talking about?
Oh boy.
But we were also like, when we did our last book, we were kind of like thinking maybe Elzar would be tempted by the dark side. And so I was like, maybe that's the direction he's tempted by that, which there was a little discussion of that, but that was not what the temptation was.
Oh no.
So we're going to kind of do what we did last time, where we're going to kind of follow individual story arcs and story points. This book is kind of all over the place, where some story go over big events that happen. So we're kind of going to go back and forth a little bit. But I think we'll figure it out. But as we always do, though, we go over our overall thoughts of each show, episode, or book, or whatever. So we'll start with Grace, since you're our guest.
Oh, yeah.
What are your overall thoughts of this book?
Overall, I really liked it. I felt like it was kind of like a coming together of a lot of different storylines and character arcs that I had been appreciating throughout the like phase 1 and 3 of the High Republic. I think I would have been really frustrated if they had like teased there being this romance between Avar and Elzar for like a million books and then nothing had ever happened between them. So I like that they just committed to it and they're like, yes, we're going to have a way for them to have a romantic relationship and also have there be no attachments or whatever. It's pretty new for Star Wars and I appreciated it. I thought the Vernestra Bell Buriaga storyline was a little bit weaker, but fine, like pretty good. And I really liked the Marchion Rose stuff. So generally I thought it was like a solid book that's moving the plot forward. It would have been great if we could just get to the end. They could finally like have their battle with Marchion Rose, but like whatever, it's fine. Like I understand they need to draw it out so that we can buy more books.
Right. All right, cool. Drew, how will you go next? What are your overall thoughts of this book?
I hated it.
Okay.
I thought it was one of the weakest ones. I think number 2 is still the weakest in my opinion, because it was just like all over and really, I don't think it was really well written at all. I thought the relationship thing was stupid and it's just annoying at this point, and it's taking too long. And then they're like, he let Yoda pretty much let him do it, which is stupid. I don't know. I thought that was dumb. Marchion Road did nothing in this entire book except waste our time and energy. So I hated that part. And we got no solution out of any of this. And it was just long progress. Waste of time, in my opinion. I don't know. I didn't like it.
Wow.
Dang. That's a rough review.
It was, I was going into it hoping that it would like even like make my love for the High Republic and like stand on like the whole like the show that we just got was like a lot of people's bad like view of the High Republic. So I thought this book would help me like, no, you guys, like this book is amazing, like these, but like compared to the last book to this one, it's completely different. Like the last book was so good and you like didn't know what he was gonna do, Marchion Roll. You didn't understand like his like character, and then like he was evil, but then like he didn't know what to do next and like all that stuff, and then like finds out he's just playing with flowers for like the entire book. And I'm like, this
that was
stupid.
Pretty annoying.
He's like walking around with his great grandmother and like as like a ghost and is playing with flowers. I'm like, this is dumb. Like
I mean, you guys would be more interested in the great grandmother stuff though if you'd read the phase 2 books, because like her whole story is told in those books. But I do agree with you. Like it's annoying that he's not progressing.
Spoilers.
Ooh.
I got those 2 books for phase 2, so Drew, get those.
Maybe we should have started there and then worked our way to this one.
So I didn't know that she was in those books. So that's a good like tease to get excited for those books.
Who's like the main characters in those ones?
Well, this is actually like I hate to burst the bubble, Jeremiah, but those 2 books that you have are not really about the great grandmother. It's the young adult novels that it's like 2 books are about, and she's the main character. Her name like Marta. It's the story of her and her sister and how the Nihil get formed.
Oh, that's an interesting Why wasn't that like the adult
that's
novels?
so important. So
Yeah.
dumb.
No, it's crazy.
Oh.
Like the only way you can follow any of these books is by reading everything, and that is really unfair because there's like 50 books at this point.
That's
How are you
just
supposed to keep them all
dumb.
straight?
I'm sorry. That is horrible marketing.
Yeah.
Because it's
I
like,
see that.
do you like think that people are gonna have time to read everything?
Well,
Like, what?
Grace has read it, so a lot
Okay,
of them, most of
well,
them. So
okay, but come on, like, it's so stupid. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't know why the Nihil became a thing and what they
Yeah.
are.
there's
Like,
a lot of stuff like Drengir's whole books about Drengir stuff. After reading this, I'm like, I wish I read those because it seems super interesting. There's like
Or
nameless
like,
stuff in phase 2 that gives us
yeah.
a lot of story about that. So
Or even in this book, like Care Senteka, he's in a whole other book that's like, I guess you guys probably haven't read, like one of the young adult ones. There's like his whole like story and his hand getting infected by the blight, like, and then he's just kind of like dropped into this book. And I feel like if you didn't have
yeah,
any
like,
exposure to the
I'm
character,
like,
you're probably confused. Who's
who
this?
is this guy with no hand and why do we care? And
oh,
then,
so
like,
Yeah.
like the Blight. I thought Blight was introduced in this book, but
No,
it
yeah,
was
it
in
was
phase
introduced in
oh
that
1.
my,
other book.
so dumb.
Oh, this is gonna be a rough night for Drew.
This
Oh
makes me, this,
no.
like, this is the reason why people are so frustrated with that whole show. I don't even want to say the name of the show because so many people like despise it. But it's like it's because like you're thrown into the scenario without any like breakdown or like situation, and it is
Mm.
separate enough and it's far enough away from episode 1 that you need content. And yes, we've read how many books already, Jeremiah? I don't even
This
know.
is our 5th one for High Republic.
5th book, and then you're introduced to characters you have no idea, and like that's so dumb. This is dumb. Like I understand like having like adult novels separate, but then like adding characters, but like from a different point of view, or like adding characters that don't really tie into the book, or you don't really need that knowledge, but like to know how the Nihil came about, you have to read 3 other books and half a comic
Literally.
book, only half of
Yeah.
it though, because you don't want to open the whole. Like that's frustrating.
Okay, Jeremiah, we didn't get
Okay, Jeremiah,
your
let us know
opening
how you feel.
snapshot. Yeah, what do you think?
So I'm kind of in the middle between you two.
I figured
There's
as much.
there's things that I really, really, really like about this book, but there's things I kind of don't like. I think like the main thing, like overall, that I have an issue with is I feel that it wasn't really a strong like continuation of the story from the last book that we
Facts.
read, because
Mm.
it like this whole stuff with the Drengir and the Blight and stuff, like if they started doing that with phase 3, like that was the kind of like the villain was like these Drengirs making a return and the Blight is this thing, and then
Mm.
like that would have been like, and then like how at the end of this book, spoiler, that Markin's like, I'm the only one that can stop this and save the
Yeah.
galaxy. Like that, like setting that up would have been a lot, I think, an interesting thing. But I also like last book was the best book out of the High Republic so far that we've read, in my opinion. And it like we were like, okay, how are they gonna get through the storm wall? Like going into this book, like what's gonna happen?
Oh
And
yeah,
Yeah.
it starts out like, oh, we've spent 3
We
months.
got through.
Vernestra, she came through. Okay, like well, I want to know that story. And like
Yeah. That's the other book.
we made
of course it
Sunveil.
is.
We made this Sunveil device based on what they did, and we've been going back and forth for 2-3 months now, and that's like where we pick up. And I'm like, where's the fun in that? Like I was like looking for that discovery of how to get through, and we didn't get that. But also the whole Naboo thing didn't matter.
Oh no.
At the end of the day, that story does not matter because
Yeah, you're right.
like they go there to get Vise. Perfect. If that was if they capture her or kill her, like that would have been
Yeah,
a
she got
meaningful
away.
thing. But she
She
got
got
away, and they're
away.
gonna have to like abandon Naboo anyway because Nihil are gonna take it back. They say, and
It was just
And
like a way to like show that they could do it.
right.
and Karen and Xylan end up like going back across the storm wall, right? Like they're not even doing their whatever intelligence network anymore. So that's a moot point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
So it's like that was that, but like so that story is this, the story is just kind of like it wasn't a great continuation from the last book. Um, so that was like my main issue with the story. But like that being said, I think the writing of all the scenes
Hmm.
was probably the best of all the books so
Hmm.
far.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
like
His
Mark
work.
Thompson, for the audiobooks, I think
Yeah.
this was his best performance yet. Like, especially the scenes with like the nameless, like
Hmm.
just how intense his voice is, and like how like he just puts in like his own like strain, like he's in the scene. Like
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing. Like Mark
Oh, he's the
Thompson,
GOAT, dude. He's the
he's so
GOAT.
good. And so like I appreciated that. And like also with the writing, which I know like all authors will do this, but like I felt like it was really strong in this book was like when it was about a certain character, how like she would write the narration parts like really focusing on that person's perspective, not like they're thinking these words rather than it's like someone standing and describing it themselves. And so like I really like the detail of like how each chapter when it was on a certain character, like it felt different because it was like written from the narrating was written from that character's perspective, like what they're thinking.
Well, especially like towards the end when they like kept showing it from different people's perspective. Like Marcia Monroe was like from a distance seeing the Jedi, and
Yeah.
then the Jedi from the distance seeing the Nameless and Marcia Monroe, and like going back and forth like that. I thought that was actually pretty cool. But I
Yeah.
still think Carter Gray is a way better writer, and I think that's why the last book was amazing. And I feel like they should just let her write this whole thing.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
But also like with that too, like Mark Thompson, what he would also do is like he'd also like when he's doing the narration parts, like he'd slip in a little bit of that character's like accent or voice in the narration. So like it added to that like effect. And so like I thought the writing was really this writing itself of description and how detailed it was, but then also with Mark Thompson's awesomeness, like the action scenes were just so good for me. And so
Yeah. It's funny how like Mark Thompson is obviously a man, but even when he does like Avar, I'm totally buying it. Like
Oh
he
yeah,
really
yeah.
makes you
or
feel like she's
even
speaking.
Vernestra, like when it's like super
Yeah.
high pitched, like I want to like see him like do behind the scenes where he's like at the microphone like doing these different characters, like to see like
I think it would be really cool if they did like if he read a book and like you know how like during COVID, Andy Serkis like read the Lord of the Rings series on YouTube.
yeah.
No, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
he
The
did it like
audiobook for Lord of the Rings is him. So
it's him, but then
Wow.
he also did during COVID, he read it like during the lockdown. He was reading it live on YouTube.
That's so
And he
cool.
just read the whole book. Like he just redid it again because he was like, well, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
People just want to hang out with me. You can like chat as I'm reading this live to everyone.
Would
So
he
like it'd
do
be
voices as he read?
yeah, he did the whole thing. It was
Wow.
dope. He was just like reading the book and then all of a sudden he's Gollum and then all of a sudden it was so cool. Like I watched some of it.
Wow.
But I think someone took it down, sadly, because
Oh,
because
yeah.
copyright, you
copyright.
Yeah.
can't just read an entire
he
book.
was able to do them all and then but then he can't leave those videos up. But I think it would be cool if we were able to see him like read them.
You know,
I think it'd be sweet.
You know, if you were to skip, you know, your opening hunting weekend,
I
he's
was actually
coming
going to talk to
to
you
Minnesota.
about that
You
because
skipping?
because Anakin might be coming too. Did you see that?
I didn't see
Hayden
that.
Christensen is going to be at Twin
So
Cities.
now are we gonna try and get press passes or what?
Yeah, because I think I'm gonna go hunting the next weekend because it's the same
Okay.
week. So yeah,
Well,
I keep forgetting to tell you about that. But yeah, that's a different.
Mark Thompson is there, so I want to meet him. But did you see from like the other Comic Con, like Mark Thompson, Timothy Zahn, and Lars Mikkelsen were all together and took a picture of each other, like Thronception. Like,
my
Wow.
friend Louis, he was at that con and he met all of them.
dang, dude.
So it was pretty cool.
When is the Comic-Con? When are you guys going?
Twin Cities Con is in November.
Probably I think it's the first weekend in November.
Yeah.
Grace, you coming up?
You want to come?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
maybe.
not that far.
It's not that. How far is it?
It's like a
You guys-
6-hour drive.
Yeah.
But if you fly, it's like 30 minutes.
It's
literally
like
a 30-minute flight.
$50 sometimes.
Wow.
So if you want to come to Minnesota, we can hang out with you.
I've never been outside of the airport in Minnesota, so maybe this is the reason to come.
So we'll show you we'll take you to Mall of America and
yeah, that'd be fun.
Eat some
Do
cheese.
some
Is that
vlogging.
what you guys are known for?
No, that's Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Hold up. Chill.
But
Chill.
you're a vegetarian, right?
Yeah.
So we got to find what's
there's a lot of
we could do like a
Herbertius Butcher.
It's like we're not So we could maybe do like a vegetarian
meat lovers
tater tot hot dish.
Ooh.
Whoa, what's that?
What's one of our
that's what
signature things is like a tater tot hot dish. So a hot dish is like another word for a casserole.
Okay, I was gonna ask if it was a casserole.
So like usually it has like ground beef in it, but like we could make a vegetarian version for you.
Oh yeah.
Wow, you guys are spoiling me.
I will
nice.
send you Twin Cities Con link on Instagram, Grace.
Yes, send it.
All right, we'll talk about that later.
we
gotta keep going, guys.
Okay.
We're already 26 minutes in. So.
Oh no. Okay. Yes. Focus on the book. Mm-hmm.
So those are my overall thoughts. It's a lot of great things, but the story was like I just didn't really felt like it fit with the continuation from the last book, and the whole Naboo stuff didn't matter at the end of the day. So
I didn't even think about that.
Even if it was cool that they were at Padme's house.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
Well, the palace.
Oh, sure.
No. They were at I thought that their house was on that like island that Padme lived on. I thought that was the whole thing.
Oh, where Vizsla. Oh, yeah, that might be right.
The villa, yeah.
Where you have house. Where you took pictures.
Where you've been.
Exactly.
That's why Grace is like, I've been there too.
Yeah, take that.
Well, when I was reading this book, I was like, Naboo is Grace's favorite place in Star Wars, and like it's being destroyed, and like is Grace like crying reading this? Like, no.
Yeah. This is just one side note on Naboo. I went to San Francisco like a couple weekends ago, and first of all, I stumbled upon the headquarters of Lucasfilm. I didn't realize. I was just walking in this park, and then I see this Yoda fountain, and
ranch?
all of a sudden,
how do you?
Well, not the ranch.
No, not the ranch, but it's like where their like office people are working or something.
I've been there too.
Yeah, so that was cool. But okay, so you do know, Drew, like nearby there is like this big thing. I forget what it's called that kind of looks like Naboo. It's like kind of a
big dome thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I was like, why haven't I brought my cosplay stuff? It's perfect.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think. Yeah, I've been there. I went there like a long time ago, and like I went inside the lobby.
Yeah.
And then you can like take pictures with like all the like the statues and stuff like that.
Exactly. But there was like a little mini Naboo, which I love.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Yes, we should continue.
All right, cool, fun. All right, so just a little story of like how what the overall like situation is going in this book. So it takes place a few months, like I think it's 2 or 3 months after the last book.
I think it's 3 months.
3 months, and like, but I feel like this book also like took place over a span of like 2 months or something like that. If you're like paying attention, like I'm like, well, we're already like 2 months later. Like, I was like, oh, okay. But so we're a few months after, and at this point, they have something called the Sunveil device, which they are using to go back and forth through the storm wall. And this technology came about because Vernestra was able to escape through the storm wall with Care Santeca, and basically the gist is how this device works is they have all these path codes going through the device, and it confuses the storm wall and it makes little cracks that they can get through. But like they have to like enter in all the like data points manually in real time. So only Jedi can have the reflexes to do that. So very convenient. And so, but they have to do it perfectly. If they don't do it perfectly, then they
die.
You hit the wall. They said I think they lost like 1 or 2 Jedi that failed when they were doing it. So they're going back and forth and they're kind of doing like rescuing people, doing supply runs. They got like contacts like they run into Beelan and Rill doing their work from. They're like they had a chance to escape last book, but like no, we gotta do some good, spread some good propaganda or whatever. So they're doing that work. And at this point, there's other like resistance and rebellion going on where they've discovered how to like bypass the scav droids and stuff like that. So there's actually some rebellion going on, and multiple times they've mentioned that Maz Kanata and Takodana as like our major like spot of like rebellion of like soldiers and rebels and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like I want to know a little bit more about what, like even like Mark and Rose, like those Takodana like mercenaries or whatever. I'm like, I want a book on that. Like,
I think there are some comics about
there
that,
probably-
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, do you think there should be a book about it? There probably is somewhere.
Gosh,
It's probably like in like a pop-up book or whatever. Like it's there.
Grace, we need you to take a semester off from school and just go over all of the comics and all these books that cover all this for us, and then we'll
don't let my parents hear that.
Well, apparently we have until December before any Disney does anything else, so like we could probably just start reading every book. Apparently,
exactly full time.
But yes, so that's the situation. So they're trying to figure out like, we have limited ability to go through back and forth, but like, what do we actually do? And then as we'll talk about the story and how it unfolds more going forward. But the first thing that we get in like was it chapter 1 or like the prelude or whatever, like our boy Porter Engle, he's alive. He survived that last book. He just wakes up and Kara Santeca is playing a harp or something, or like something like that. And he's like, what the heck is going on? And Porter's like, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I'm going to go murder General Peace. I've had enough of her. She's ruined enough things in my life. I'm going to hunt her down and kill her. So what did you guys think of Porter, like, not being a Jedi? Like, he's this, like, revenge, dark side. He didn't embrace the dark side, but it's like he was very angry, feeling everything he was doing. Like, what did you guys think of Porter Engle in this book?
Drew, you go first.
Oh, he didn't even do it, so.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. Like, love the effort, but nothing happened because apparently he knows where her sister is.
Oh, Vise knows where his sister is.
But did we even know he had a sister?
Yeah.
Did you not? Comic.
Yeah, remember comics was Grace number 1?
Yeah,
Come on, Drew.
Oh,
we've covered this already. Come on.
I forgot.
So he,
spoilers, by the way.
So Barash Vise causes Barash to like not listen to the Force, and it causes her to do things that cause innocent people to die or whatever. And so she then says, I can't be a Jedi anymore. I'm going into seclusion. And that's where the Barash vow comes from. So
in the Acolyte.
So Torben, he takes the Barash vow. And that's what he's like, I got to completely disconnect myself from the Jedi and stuff and just be focused on becoming one with the Force. So this is like, that was like 150 years before these books, I believe. So in phase 2, that's where that story is, like 150 years before. So like he hasn't seen his sister, and it's sister in quotation marks, like they're just like really close.
Yeah, like found sister.
Yeah. So like he hasn't seen her in 150 years, and he's like, I lost her because of you, Vise, and you're just a thorn in my side, so I'm gonna take you out. And so Grace, what did you think?
I have mixed feelings about it. Number one, think it's a little bit weird they have him survive. Like, I think we all thought he was going to live after the last book, but the way that his story ends in the last book, it seems like he's making this sacrifice so that he's gonna die for like the good of Avar and the galaxy.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's just alive, I don't love. And then I am interested in seeing him reunite with Barash. Like, I thought that was an interesting storyline in the comic, and I wanted to see it through, but so I generally liked what was happening here, but I understand like where Drew is coming from, where it was kind of slow and he doesn't actually get her in the end. So it would have been better if it was like resolved within the course of this book. I think the whole like revenge mission is kind of interesting. It's another take on like what it means to be a Jedi. Like you said, Jeremiah, he's seeking revenge, but also not drawing on the dark side. Like, I'm curious to see where that goes, I suppose.
Well, is he gonna find his sister and she's just floating because she took the vow and like nothing's gonna happen?
I don't know. I'm guessing she's
like, you know what I mean? Like,
so it's not necessarily. So taking the vow does not mean that you are floating. Like, that's just one way to do it. Like, I guess it's when you seclude yourself from all Jedi influence and you just focus on meditation and like focusing on the Force.
But like, clearly, maybe she doesn't want to be found.
Well, yeah. That's
so then he like brings her to her, and then she doesn't even want to be found. Like, I'm interested, kinda, now that you guys reminded me who his sister was. I was just more like just irritated that like he was about to kill her. Pause. Time out. I know your sister is, and then he just lets her leave. I'm like, and we're just saying another half a book of them running around playing tag, and then finally he's gonna find your sister, and then she's like, I don't even want to talk to you. Like,
I'm just gonna be upset if that story isn't concluded in the next book.
It won't be.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
if it's in a different book series or like a comic, like
yeah, it would be kind of funny.
Then it's like literally 2 books with him doing his thing, and then like we don't even get that story continued. So like, I think because V still is like one of the main people in the Nihil, and like they're trying to take down the Nihil, like next book when assuming that it's the last book, like they are going to defeat Ro and V's will lose. And
dude, at this point though, I think this is another thing that bothers me about this book. Is like, at this point, are they even gonna do it? Like, what's
what do you mean?
Like, I feel like we're just gonna keep reading books about these characters forever because they're never gonna defeat him.
We'll get there. I think it'll be concluded next book.
I agree. It has to be this.
If the galaxy has to work with Markion, like he's not in hiding anymore. Like, they're gonna know where he is. He's gonna be side by side like throughout the whole next book.
So is he gonna become good?
So I think he's gonna like solve the problem, and then Elzar is gonna like force choke him or something,
and turn evil,
or someone's gonna throw a little piece of blight at him, like the Drengir when he throws a little piece, like.
But he's not affected by the blight, right? That's his whole thing.
So it's very brief, but
we're like jumping all over the place right
now. This book is like that. So it's very brief.
Facts.
It's very easy to miss, but the device that he uses to control the Nameless also controls the blight that he discovers.
Oh, what is it called? The Rod of
Saruman.
The purple light, which the thing is,
the Leveler. No,
the Leveler is another name for the Nameless.
That's the Nameless. The Rod of Seasons. I don't know.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
But like, what's interesting though is maybe in one of the other books it's discussed, but
probably is.
I don't. Then at the end of the first book,
it is.
At the end of the first book, like when Loden Great Storm is captured by we see like he brings out a device with a purple shining light on it, and like we never got an explanation to that in the adult novels until now. Like that's what controls the Nameless.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that it also controls the blight.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And so that's why he's able to not be infected is because he's
So
this whole
he's just saying that he knows he's the only one that can do it, but it's only because he actually has a tool,
tool.
right?
But I also think that he figured something out that he hasn't
Yeah.
revealed to us yet.
His grandmother.
That too.
I just like what was the point of her?
I
She's
think
just like distracting him.
he's just haunted by he's
His
first of all he's probably
past.
schizophrenic a little bit and he's
A
crazy.
little bit.
So like he's having these thoughts of his great grandmother.
Who he never knew,
I was
right?
gonna
Like
say,
kind of.
how would he even know her though?
So that's something that's in those phase 2 books. Like their species, the Evereni, it's not force ghosts, but it's like a similar idea to force ghosts, where they're able to see
Oh,
their ancestors are like close relations after death. It's like a less pure form than a force ghost, where it's like positive and happy. It's more of a like kind of negative memory of the person. So I think he is seeing some sort of like apparition of his great great grandmother who founded the Nihil. And I guess she's like influencing or showing him a different way to think about the Nihil. I'm not really sure. Like I agree with you guys that her purpose in this book wasn't clear
Like
outside of just being a connection to those phase 2 books. Like
and
I
like
don't know if they're gonna do more
I
with her.
I don't know, and I didn't understand like at some points it was like she was like disapproving of what he was doing, but at other
Mm,
times she's like basically good job grandson, like excited for what he's doing. So it's like I
yeah.
didn't know what she was trying to do
yeah,
or
that's what I didn't really understand. Like, it really felt like, not to talk more about Lord of the Rings, but it really felt like it was like a Gollum situation where he was just like doing something, and then like he was talking to himself almost like.
Mm.
But like now that you guys are actually like now that Grace is actually saying it's actually a real thing, now it's just kind of he's just talking to a ghost. But it was like, what was the point though?
Yeah.
Because the only thing he went there to see these plants and like study these plants, and like that's what bothered me, because his whole last book was so intense about his character and developing this character, and he was like struggling with like what to do next after he controlled like half the galaxy, and like he didn't know how, like he was struggling on how to control it, and then he just went off, and he wasn't even in like the planet that he was on was like actually not even in like behind the storm wall, right?
yeah, he was going back
Mm.
and forth. There was
He-
different
it was just like,
reports they followed.
yeah, so it just like felt like his character was just like floating around the galaxy and like didn't really do much except for at the end. But at the end, it really didn't do much either to me. Like,
What do you think about the relationship between the Nameless and the Blight? Because it seems like the Nameless are scared of the Blight, which makes me feel like there's something interesting going on there that we haven't figured out yet.
I don't think we're gonna get it. I don't know what to think because like we'll talk more about it with like
Okay.
Buryaga and Bell type stuff, but
well,
like
it makes me think that the Jedi might use a blight to maybe finish the Nameless off,
that could be
Mm.
because they can fight the blight, but they can't really fight the Nameless without like doing what they're doing. And they're pretty much saying that they can't do that again
right.
Mm-hmm.
without losing a Jedi. So it's like, well, what if they use that character, like those people or the blight, to kill the Nameless? Finally, actually in the Nameless, like they thought they did.
Well, it's probably you're probably right. It's gonna be how Markion uses this as his leverage and what he's gonna be able to use to like maybe take over the galaxy or whatever. But it's gonna collapse on him, and the Jedi and Republic they're actually gonna use the blade to take him out and the Nihil out. Like I could maybe see that, um,
I
but
have a somewhat different reading on it, but let's save it for when we talk about Bell and
Okay.
Buryaga, because I don't have a lot else to say about them. So
all right, cool.
yeah.
All right, and so then just moving on with Porter. So one of the chapters we see like he's pretending to be a Nihil, like in a base or whatever, trying to like
Yeah.
he's trying to track down V's. Tracks down like one of her offices, and he's like going through like her drawers and books and trying to get leads. And he's like, this is what I gotta do. Like, I'm just gonna hunt her down, take every lead, and we don't see him for a while.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And when we see him next, like, I was surprised because we're on Naboo, everything's about to happen. The Republic and the Jedi show up in the outer space, and someone runs into Vis and Care, and we're like, hey, the Republic is here. And like, what? How is that possible? And then immediately at the end of that chapter, Porter jumps in, completely independent from the Republic's. So it happens at the same exact time. And I'm like, I remember I wrote in my, because I take notes on every chapter. I remember at the end I wrote WTF question mark. Like, like where did this come from? I'm like, I'm happy. I like Porter, but like, this is intense. And so he then fights Vis. And what was interesting though is a nameless. There's two nameless in Naboo in Theed, and one of the nameless starts coming, and Porter starts feeling the effects, and he could just easily be killed right then and there. But Vis is like, no, I got this. I can handle him on my own. I need this victory. And then, spoiler alert, doesn't work out, and she has to escape. And so that happens. And then later on, he uses a tracking device or whatever to like track her ship, finds her ship abandoned, and there's a message from him about where she is, and it's on Granavir. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Planet?
The place that was the setting of the comic.
Yes. So that's where Barash was in the conflict with Vis, and so Porter follows that lead and finds her, and they're fighting. And then Vis is like about to lose, so she jumps on her ship. Porter's about to destroy the ship, and she's like, "Stop! I know where your sister is." And then she's able to. Porter's like, "Let her go," and then she escapes. So. Yep. Not again. You got me again, Vis.
Oh man, so close.
So I really like Porter as a character, but like, it was weird seeing him like turn to like almost into the dark side and be on his vengeance thing, because it's very not what the Jedi are about. But like,
really felt like the writer didn't know what to do with his character in this book.
But I also want to. I always try to defend the writers and stuff. So I think it's supposed to kind of parallel like the Barash vow is you separate yourself from the Jedi and the Jedi Council and the teachings of the Jedi, and you just focus on the Force. So it's kind of like a contrasting parallel where, because like later on, like he's after the Battle of Naboo and all that stuff, like he's making his dinner for everybody, and he's talking with Avar, and he's like, "I'm going after her," and Avar's like, "Please just stay with us and come with us." And I think he just smiles and walks away. Like, he's not acting like a Jedi. He's separating himself from the Jedi and his teachings to do his own thing. So it's kind of like a parallel with Brash, but like the opposite side of like.
But it wasn't that he was evil though,
right?
He just was like, "I'm tired of this girl. I'm tired of what she's doing, and like I'm tired of taking the Jedi route and slowly doing it." Like, he became grumpy grandpa and was like,
"Hey, he's like 300 some years old or something like that." So, like, so I think it's a parallel. I don't know. Yeah. But Grace, what do you think?
No, that's such a good point. I hadn't picked up on that. I love that idea. And yeah, I guess it's cool, like I said before, and I feel like both of you were just saying, to see somebody pick a path that's not traditional Jedi path when it comes to using the Force, but that's not just a Sith, it's something in between. That's cool. It's interesting. I'm curious to see where they take it. I feel like 50% certain they're going to put it in a comic, but maybe it'll be in the next book.
Hopefully.
How mad will you be, Jeremiah, if like you find out like the next book that she died, and like, or he died?
Yeah, no, like I feel like it's very likely.
I'd be so mad if like it ends up 2 months later after the next book and they receive reports. It's like the Jedi Council, like, yeah, we just found out that Porter Engel has died at the hands of General Feast and she's still alive and well, like I'd be so mad because he's so. I love him as a character, but like I'd be a ruining of his character.
Are they gonna come? They had to come out with like a recipe book of his stuff.
Oh,
They
that's
should.
so smart. Honestly, like you should get on.
They probably already. It's Disney.
They
They have a recipe book for like Galaxy's Edge. Like, there's got to be a recipe book.
I have 2 different Star Wars cookbooks.
Yeah.
Don't let them steal your idea.
They're older. But his 12 egg stew or whatever, like
yeah, like there's got to be a recipe book that they're gonna
I don't know what that would taste like, but I'm kind of scared about an egg stew. But
yeah,
well, it's like egg, like
yeah, I'm
egg
not gonna
drop.
eat. I would never. I can't.
I've heard of this. Yeah,
I can't.
I haven't
eat
had
that.
it.
Like
It's
I don't
not
eat
bad.
runny. I don't eat runny eggs. It's like straight scrambled or like an omelet style where it's just fully cooked all the way through, no runniness. I can't. Well,
Gotcha.
Can't even. But yes, that's the Porter stuff. So moving on to what I think was probably the most interesting part of the book, the Belle and Buryaga.
What? That was the worst part for me. I'm shocked.
Really?
Yeah, she said that.
Yeah. I have nothing to say about this. Okay, I'm curious. Go ahead. What did you like about it?
Because it's the only part that like actually matters in the story. Like we said, the Naboo stuff doesn't matter. But like all this Blight stuff, like it's the only thing that's carrying on to the next book. And so
it's true.
like the intrigue of the Blight of like so for our listeners, what is the Blight? So
yes,
Buryaga and Belle, they're investigating things or whatever on this one planet, and the species has like a symbiotic relationship with the trees, and like so they can't leave the planet because they would die. So it's like they have to stay on this planet, but this blight. So like picture it as like everything turning to dust, like ash. And so they're investigating this, trying to figure out what it is. But they also then discover a Drengir on this planet. And the Drengir are the giant how did they like a vegetative sentient
like a tree,
like a sentient plant that is only connected to the dark side. And so I remember, in phase 1 there was references to the Drengir conflict, and Avar is the one who has her own books about her and leading teams, and they defeat the Drengir. They think it's all done, but here they discover a Drengir and it's dying. And Buryaga, he's so cool. I like how he's just so like
cool.
super like spiritual with the Force thing, where he just sees emotions and connects with things, and he connects with this dying Drengir, and he's like, it's suffering, it's dying, it's alone, it's cut off, like something else is going on here that we're not aware of. But they're like, but is this also connected to the Blight? Like that's also the big story of like, is there a connection? Because some planets that have the Blight had Drengir on them in the past, but others don't. And the one thing that I wrote down in my notes was that the Drengir felt homesick, is what Buryaga's first like conclusion was. And so I didn't really know a lot about the Drengir, but then it's explained here that the Drengir were placed on planets by the Nihil as a distraction before phase 1. That'd be before phase 1 comes to be. And there's a main Drengir that's like the leader, called the Great Progenitor. I can't even say it. That through the Force is connected to all these other Drengir throughout the galaxy, and they're able to just viciously take over planets and kill people and eat people and stuff. So they captured this Great Progenitor, and we learn that it was on Starlight Beacon. And Avar just assumed, because it wasn't meant to be there like for good, but it was supposed to be this as a holding facility until they could take this sentient plant somewhere else. And she's like, it was probably still on Starlight Beacon when it crashed, and it's probably still alive on Irium where this happened. And so that's why these Drengir are still alive, or they're disconnected from this leader. And so I'm like, all right, this is kind of cool. Like, I really like the scene when they tell Avar, because she like figures this out that it's probably still alive. And so I don't know. What do you guys think of the Drengir stuff? And we'll talk about it later at the end too, as well. Drew didn't care. Is that what that is?
No, I thought it was interesting. I like that. I thought it was. I like that they tied it back and then realized that it was like on Starlight Beacon captured, and like that's how it got out. And like, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I think it's a cool concept.
I like Belle and Buryaga. I feel like Belle in particular has been underserved in phase 3, so I'd like to see
I
more with
agree
his
with that
character.
about Belle.
But Buryaga is getting more attention, and I appreciated that we got to see inside of his perspective in this story. So that was nice. And then I think the Drengir is interesting, and it kind of relates to my theory about what's going on with the Blight. Like, I'm not sure if this is just completely off base, but I felt like maybe the reason they were bringing in the Drengir and Buryaga and like this idea that the Drengir are feeling homesick is going to have something to do with the fact that like the solution to the nameless is that like they were taken from their home planet, and like the reason that they're so aggressive and hostile is because they like missed the place that they were from where like everything was in balance. And like the reason the Blight has emerged is because the nameless were taken from their home, and the solution is ultimately going to be to like take them back to their planet. And like maybe Vernestra and her like force visions in hyperspace is going to have a role in like finding the path back to the planet that the nameless are from. That's kind of what I think they're doing. But again, if that's totally wrong, then my read on the Drengir and the Blight and everything else that happened in this book is probably just like incorrect and meaningless. But if that's what happens, it will be meaningful and I'll be happy.
You heard it here first, folks. Grace, that's her fan theory right there. What's going to happen, which would be an interesting path to follow. So, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know what to think about it, but it was just interesting, like how Burry and Bell were trying to figure it out, but then at the same time, Ro is doing it as well. Like, he's trying to figure this out. Like, he throws like a cat into the Blight and like see what happens. Throws one of his guards in the Blight, see what happens.
Sad.
Like, and he's just slowly trying to figure it out because we'll kind of talk about it a little bit more. But like, Gira mentions that she thinks that Ro is no longer focused on any goals. So like, this is like a new thing where he actually has a purpose in his mind of like trying to figure this out because like he wants to use it as a tool if he can. And
well,
so,
what's your thought about that, Jeremiah? Because I was saying that in the last book that I felt like he had no other purpose. Like, what is he gonna do? But you had like a whole concept of what you thought he was gonna do. What's your thought now that that's not?
What did I say last book? I don't even remember.
I don't remember, but I remember you were like, no, he's it's all planned out. But like it like shows me that he didn't have like once that was done, he didn't know what else to do.
Right. Because I felt like maybe I was talking about how like here it talks a lot about how all the leaders and stuff like they're all starting to do their own thing. They're not really focused on following Markion. And so like he can't like even though he's a leader, if like people aren't going to follow, like there's nothing much you can do. Like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Like so like if no one is following him, it does make him powerless in a sense. So like by taking this thing, figuring out this Blight, and like saying like I am the solution to saving the galaxy, like it gives him the power where everyone has to follow him. Yeah. So like that's like his purpose, where like, he wants people and needs people to follow him, and that's why he has to try and find a new goal. And he does this with the Blight because he's like, if I can figure this out, like no one can stop me. And so, like, that's, I guess, in the end, like, if he doesn't want to save the galaxy, he just wants to control the galaxy, he could do that with the Blight if he wanted to, if he could figure it out fully.
But can he? Like, he doesn't seem to be able. He can stop the Blight from hurting himself, but it's not like he can hold that rod up and like stop it from consuming a planet, right?
But he could contain it on a planet, maybe, or like he could. Maybe it can be used also to completely stop it, because like there's times when it's like the Blight spread, but like it stopped spreading, like where he was. Maybe,
but is he just doing that just to show power? But then he actually can't actually do it?
Well, in this book, he's just figuring it out. So, like, we don't know. Like, we're discovering it as he's discovering it, and it's not until the very end when he has an aha moment that we haven't heard yet. Like, we're not going to get that until next book.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I like the Blight stuff just because it's like, what is the mystery of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. That's why I thought it was fine. I just like, I like his character so much, especially in the last book. I thought he was like very interesting, and it showed you like that he was weaker. Like his plan was to build a storm wall and control out the galaxy, and then once he had it, he realized that he didn't know how to control it. He doesn't actually know how to manage half the galaxy. And like I feel like at this point, like with the Blight and whatever, I feel like he's gonna try to just create as much chaos as possible, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have a solution to any of this chaos. Like he just wants to create chaos at this point. Because he's burning every bridge, no matter what side of the coin they are. Like you said, Jeremiah, like half the people don't even follow him anymore. His wife or whatever she is to him, like, doesn't care about him.
Gira.
Yeah, like she doesn't care about him. So it's just kind of like he's just gonna make a bunch of chaos, and then like the Jedi will probably figure it out and then off him, hopefully. But we'll probably get like 12 more books before that happens.
Oh gosh, true.
Stop. They have to get him in the next book. Enough is enough.
I don't think so, man. There's too much money involved.
I don't think there's as much money in books as you think there
are. But in comics and small, like, I don't know. They're still making money, apparently, because they could have ended them like 3 books ago.
I don't know. I think if there's a phase 4, it's going to be... So there were announced some Acolyte books, ties to the books for Acolyte that's coming out. I don't know if they gave a timetable, but like I'm guessing they're going to focus on connecting phase 3 to the Acolyte era. So that's
I want that.
Me too.
So we are getting that. So we're getting Vernestra and Master Indara book.
Ooh.
And then Kelnaka comic.
Oh, cool.
And then a young adult novel centered on Jeki and Yord, which Jeki was my favorite character in Acolyte, and Yord was
your least favorite character.
Yeah, Yord was literally the worst.
Except he had the coolest death of all time, though.
But yeah.
So I don't know, but I think that Markion will meet his end. Book 6 and be the end of phase 3.
Do they have they announced who's writing book 6?
Yes. I don't know. I think it's some guy.
No.
I don't know.
I
have a 50-50 shot on that.
Yeah. Good guess, Jeremiah.
But
wait, I think I have it.
This which was
also might be
Charles Soule.
He did which other one?
Didn't he do 2?
First one?
It might have been the first one that he wrote.
I think it might have been the first one.
Who wrote 2?
I don't know.
Remember.
Is this the same person? Because that would be hilarious.
But Claudia Gray is writing the 3rd young adult novel in phase 3. That's fun.
There you go. She's done multiple.
She's the best, man.
She's done like 3 or 4 other ones other than the book that we've read. So She's one of the main people.
She's the
But
best.
I don't know. So
hashtag give it to Gray.
Yep. But so then the final thing was that like when Buryaga was trying to like meditate and like connect with the blight, like he was able to connect with, but it was like a very strong pushback, like it was resistance to a force connection or something, and then he was able after like 5 hours or whatever it was in meditation, he was able to stop it for like moving for like a couple inches or something like that, and that was like all his strength. So it's like somehow it's connected to the force, but resistance to the force. It's
Do you think he's going to try connecting with like one of the nameless with the force? That's what I thought he was going to do, but then it didn't really happen. But maybe it will happen in the next book, or is that just like impossible?
I think if he does, it's going to be like his connection is going to end up killing the nameless, but it's also he's going to be sacrificing himself. Which
we don't want.
Which, you know, Burry is pretty cool. So like I don't want to see him die. He already died once, like in our eyes.
Yeah,
like.
Buryaga needs to survive. The rest of them I don't really care.
I think Belle needs to die and like not that I want him to die necessarily, but I feel like that would be like I think it'd be kind of cool if Belle dies and then Buryaga becomes evil.
It's too late for do that. Like,
is it though? They can do it all in like
and
4
and the thing
novels.
is though, like Buryaga is a teenager, like in
he's so
years,
young.
but like he's not around during the sequel or the prequel trilogy that we know of. So like he ends up probably dying as like
he's not in he's also he's not in
the Acolyte.
Not yet. He could be, but like having more than one Wookiee in the Jedi Order at one time is probably very unlikely, like because they're one of the most rare inductees into the Jedi. So I think he's gonna die next book, which would be very sad.
I think a lot of them will die actually.
Yeah.
If it's gonna actually end, I wouldn't be surprised if like all of them die.
Maybe.
Or the two lovebirds become evil together.
I think they're just gonna both die, but yeah.
Yep. But last thing about Burry, how do you guys feel
that he can speak English?
That he could speak basic words, like English words. Do you notice that, Grace?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he says no, like yells no, and then there's like
that was like the translation.
And then there's like another like 3-word sentence that he would
said come back or something.
Something like that. But like, what do you think about that, guys?
That's fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, if like
does it though?
The vocal cords are not able to speak basic, but like some sounds that are similar enough to Shriwook, he can make.
It's like the videos of somehow cats can say hi or whatever.
Yeah, or like parrots. Like I don't. Like I kind of get it.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird. I'm not against it, but it was just like we've never seen this before. Like you'd think, of all people, Chewbacca could say a word or two.
But he was not. Well, I guess we don't know if he was force sensitive or not.
No, probably not.
But I mean, like they all speak. Chewbacca like speaks basic. They all speak basic. It's just like whether or not they can make the sounds. Yeah,
I understand it, but like because Burry, he's talking. People can communicate with Burry, no problem.
Yeah,
is that it's hard for him to communicate with ours, but
yeah,
it was cool that like that language on that planet was like a similar language that he could make the sounds with. And
I thought that was just like it was so nice hearing his perspective. He was like, "Yeah, I can finally like contribute by being able to speak."
That's gonna be so sad.
Yeah, I agree. Like his best friend Belle like can't even really talk. He can't really talk to him. Like that's so sad.
But Belle is trying to learn Shriwook.
I know, which is so cute. I love the two of them. They're a really good pair.
It's just funny in the Han Solo movie when they meet and like they're fighting and he's Han Solo was trying to like, and like Chewbacca's like, huh? You can speak? That's a funny moment in that movie. But all right, so enough on that for now. We'll get back to them later. But it's kind of quick, like the Gira story. Like she was just kind of there.
Yeah.
And what was frustrating about her story in this book was at the end of last book.
Yeah.
Like it set her up as like she's gonna start a rebellion within the Nihil against
Yes.
Markion, and like because like someone comes up to her, like there's other people that are not happy with what's going on too. Like it set it up for this like internal conflict inside the Nihil, and we didn't get that. Like
We
sure
didn't get that at all.
Like the only thing we got was like she did give the Jedi and the Republic Markion's locations, but like that's not what we wanted. That's what was set up.
And like the
No.
biggest thing about that whole thing was that her daughter didn't want to be with her. That was like the whole thing, which was also half the book that Jeremiah, you pointed out, that it doesn't really matter.
So her daughter Avon goes by Avon Sunvale, and so she's the one who also escaped with Vernestra and helped create the Sunvale device. And so she's living kind of in hiding by having a different last name. She doesn't want people to know that her mother is the minister of whatever in the Nihil and stuff. So like she's just doing her own thing. I think she's like 16 or 17 or something like that. So she's super smart.
Oh, I think she was like 14 or 15. No, 15. She was 15. She was young.
Right, whatever. So she's high school age. And so eventually, you know, I think it was Elzar connected those two together on Coruscant. And there was just a a good conversation between them about like, I think Avon's conclusion, like, because like Gira's like, I just want you to be safe, and me joining a Nihil is for long-term safety for you, not just a short-term quick fix of being safe. Like I'm trying to do this for you, which is a terrible thing to like sacrifice the whole galaxy in a sense for one person. But like, because most people in the galaxy are doing just fine right now. And I think there was this like, they're talking about kind of like what to be proud of. And I think Avon was like, I'd rather be proud of you and you be dead than for you to like be alive and me not be proud of what you're doing. And so that was enough for Gira to give the data to the Jedi, the most recent locations that Markion was at. And so that's how later on in the book they track down Markion.
Yeah, but then he escapes and then brings himself to Coruscant. It's like, did it really matter?
Well, it did matter because if they didn't show up, then he wouldn't have came to Coruscant.
But he was going to leave the planet anyways, though.
Well, yeah, because he's going from planet to planet. But like, it wasn't until the Jedi show up and he was able to like actually practice using the blade.
Sure, I guess.
Like that was like when he's still trying to discover what was going on. And that's so true. Like there's that. But it's still kind of lame that like they didn't track him down themselves. Like they just got, here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they could have figured out how to find him themselves, and then like that character development would have been really cool if she would actually, instead of just like saying, here, he's at this spot or this spot, like actually start bringing these people together against him,
right?
And like actually help the Republic with shutting down the storm wall behind his back.
Right.
Like there's other ways they could have done it instead of a spy or whatever that guy is that figured out how to get in and out of the storm wall. And just so because he wanted to go get his puppy back. Like,
which is a very noble thing. Anyone who has a dog would do the same thing.
I mean, sure. Well,
Plinka.
Yeah.
So innocent.
So yeah, so that's the Gira story.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because like you see her realize that she's lying to herself in that conversation with Avon. Like she's like, "Oh yeah."
More of it would have came out.
No, I agree.
They would have done more with that.
I agree. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. All right, so the big like story that's going on, even though we already said it's kind of pointless, is the whole Naboo arc, and so the at one point during the middle of the book or towards the beginning of the book, whatever it was, a ship comes through the storm wall, a Nihil ship, and there's a gentleman named Xylan Graf that escapes, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to come help." Like no one's gonna trust him. And he's like, "Yeah, helped build the storm wall, especially the thing that powers the storm wall, and I want to give you all the secrets and how to get through and blah blah blah." And so we actually find out that he is married to Care Santeca.
Yes.
And so I forget who. So Xylan was placed into Care Santeca's life to like be a spy, or was it the other way around?
Exactly.
Okay.
No, I think it was the other way around.
Care was.
Yeah, I think Care was
went
sent
to
to
Graf.
spy on the Grafs, and then Xylan figured him out, but like they still fell in love or something like that.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I don't know if they're in love.
They're a complicated relationship.
I think they're both
They're married.
In love. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are married that aren't in love. Because like
he was worried about him. I think.
Yeah, I think it was like
trying to get back to Naboo. It was both the dog and the husband.
Yes, and then he also captured his husband. I think he shows a very weird way of love. I think you're right, Grace. I think he is in love with his husband.
Because it was one of those things where like he got married for business in a sense. And then maybe there's some flames
but I also think they both love the dog more than each other, though.
That's
so.
True.
Like that's what I was getting out of that whole thing. Was like that poodle was the heart of the relationship.
Not a poodle. What is it called? Like a snow dog?
Something.
Snow.
I kind of pictured it like between like.
I was just thinking of like a giant white husky.
Well, I was thinking more because it had 6 legs, so I was thinking more like Appa.
I missed that part.
Like
I was
like
Appa.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly what I was thinking because it's supposed to be big, right?
Yeah, so it's like maybe the size of like a horse. That's kind of how I pictured it.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Is there images of it?
What is it called? Is snow dog? There was like a few words. Let me Google it.
Something snow something.
Snow dog Plinka High Republic. This is good. People wanted to see us Google things.
Yep.
A Thelgian snow dog, which is funny. Just so you guys, if you're curious, Thelge means snow in Arabic, so it's just like snow and then snow, isn't it?
Oh, cool. So
that's actually pretty cool.
So I pictured more like a horse-sized Appa, but was more like sleek, not as round as Appa is. So that's what I was thinking. And I'm like, this is a cool dog. Like, I want a dog like that. That'd be cool. But yes, so Plinka is the one that's keeping that relationship together. But we should say, so the Santecas and the Grafs are like rival families, like in the technology world, because the Santecas, they're like hyperspace stuff. I forget what the Grafs were. There's maybe just more.
I think they're both like hyperspace prospectors. Like they're the two wealthy families.
Right. So
it's funny if you look up Snow Dog Star Wars.
It's so ugly.
Well, one of the images too is Harrison Ford on that one show that movie that he was in with a dog. So this is a picture of Harrison Ford and a dog. I'm like, that's not Star Wars at all, but whatever. Okay. So stupid.
Yes. So anyway, Xylan Graf, he's like, I can get you in and out. I know how to take down the storm wall. And so there's a place called the Lightning Crash that is what powers. So earlier we were getting introduced to like these crystal farms or whatever. That these are crystals that power the storm wall, and they're also being attacked by the Blight. But they have the Lightning Crash, which is essentially like a big bowl, how I pictured it, filled with these crystals. That's in the thing that in space that's like emitting the power to control the storm wall. And he's like, I can get you there, and you can destroy that, and that will take down the power to the storm wall. And then also, like, by doing that, you can get to Naboo, where General Vyse is. And so then you can take out a major player in the Nihil leadership. And no one's really trusting him. But even though Vernestra hates him, she's like, he's always in it for himself. So like, he's not going to sacrifice his life if he doesn't believe that it's actually going to work. Like if it doesn't work, then he loses. He's captured and then he's in jail for the rest of his life. So like, even though I hate him, we can trust that he actually is being truthful. And so that's kind of like, and he also introduces like the what do they call it, the home key. To get through the storm wall, which is kind of like, this is the main vein path for the storm wall technology. If you just have this in your hyperdrive coordinates or however it works, I can't remember, but like use that, you can get in and out no problem. You don't have to manually do things, because all this path codes and everything are built off of this one. So if you can get that home key, that was it Mari Santeca, the one that makes the made all the paths, like she made that. That was like the first one that or one of the first ones that led to Naboo, I believe it was. That's because that's where the Santecas are from, is Naboo. So that's the plan. So the big plan is Elzar and his team is going to go to the lightning crash, and Avar is going to lead a team on Naboo, and they're going to try and take down the storm wall and kill / capture General Vyse. And so, did you guys think, before they left on their missions, when they said bye to each other, that someone was going to die, and this is the last time they saw each other? I totally thought Avar was going to die.
I didn't really care enough.
Oh gosh,
truthfully.
Savage! Oh my god.
I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't invested in there. Like, I think it's because the dog distracted me or something. Like the whole thing about like how the dog couldn't get cut in his throat, it could only get cut in his spine, like how it would die or whatever. Like that was so intriguing and like interesting that like the relationship I was just, like towards the end, because he ends up capturing his husband back.
Talking about Karen Xylan, not Avar and Elzar, right?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I was
like, what? We're talking about, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, yes. I did think one of them was gonna die.
Okay.
I was like, I thought we were still talking about those two people.
No.
Yes,
so I thought Avar was.
I thought Avar was gonna. Yeah.
But Grace, you didn't think that either one was gonna die in that moment?
I thought that they needed to pay off the romance, and they hadn't at that point. Like, so I didn't think. I thought they were gonna. I thought they were gonna wait until they like fully got together, which now they have, and now I'm convinced that one of them or both of them are gonna die for sure.
I think they're both gonna die.
Yeah, probably like together.
But like this whole time, I was like, during this battle and all that stuff before, eventually.
Oh, especially towards the end too.
Like I thought, like when in episode 3, when Anakin and Obi-Wan say their goodbyes before crap hits the fan, like I thought that was what was going to happen. This was their final goodbyes. Avar was going to go to Naboo, and she was going to die on Naboo, and then Elzar was going to arrive on Naboo, and she's dead, and that was what
he never got to like tell all of his feelings. Yeah, that would have been good, I guess.
Because our big theory, last book was that Elzar was going to turn to the dark side, and that's how he was going to defeat Markion in the Nile. But
wouldn't it have been cool or not cool? I guess it's pretty dark. But if she would have died, and then that's why he actually went towards the dark side, because he had nothing in the light that was influence. So it could still happen.
Yeah, I think it could still happen because he's still struggling with the darkness.
But like and now that Yoda gave him the thumbs up that he can be in a relationship, because whatever anymore and whatever. But I don't want to get political. But anyways, just kidding. It's not political.
But
like now that I feel like now, if she ends up dying, which she will, I think that could push him over to the dark side, and which is another reason why you're not supposed to be in a relationship.
Well, okay, we'll talk about them later because that's a whole story arc, and we're still on the Naboo stuff. So we'll talk about more about their love for each other.
Yes.
But yes, so Elzar and his team, they go to the lightning crash, and they easily destroy this thing. Like, they're like, this shouldn't have been this easy. Yeah, there were Nihil there, but they're easily taken out, or they escaped, or whatever, and they destroyed the facility. And like, Xylem Graf is like, yeah, the power's down, and that means just the storm wall is down. But they're like, but he did say, I think, earlier say, like, eventually they have other ways to turn it back on, but like, it's a window that we have. Now he didn't say it's gonna be up in like a couple hours. They thought they had like days or weeks.
Well, it wasn't a couple. Well, I guess it was a couple hours, but it was like overnight.
I thought it was like that same day though.
No, it was. I thought it was the next morning because remember they went to bed, and then he woke up rushing his husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
right.
they like ran out, and then that's when they realized that it was already back up.
But I think it happened like in the middle of the night, so it was still like.
Sure, I mean, yeah, you're right. It was a couple hours, but
yeah,
but it wasn't like 2 hours. It was 4 or 5. A good nap, a good bedtime.
Yep.
Time. It's like when your internet goes out and the next morning's on. It was like that.
Okay. Yes. So that part of the mission was easy, but then they go with the Naboo stuff. That was when it was pretty intense. And also at this time, Porters are fighting Vise while all of this is happening. So the Republic and the Jedi and Avar, they all show up. So I think it was Vernestra, Bell, Buryaga, and then like a couple other random Jedi. Wasn't there one like Dat or something like that? It was his or her name. Remember
I
that?
don't remember. I do. I know what you're talking about, but yeah, I don't remember the name.
Dat. That's a weird name, even for Star Wars. And so, boom, space battle. Their starfighters are fighting the Nihil, all that fun stuff. And okay, I might have a hot take.
Yeah.
So I've said, and I think a lot of people agree that, when it comes to Force sensitive people, Anakin Skywalker is the best pilot in Star Wars.
Oh, here we go.
And then the best the debate is who is the best non-Force sensitive.
Yeah.
I say Harrison Dula.
Hera, yeah, it's a good choice.
But I think Avar could give Anakin a run for the money for best pilot in the galaxies. Dude, these chapters when she's connecting all the Jedi together, and she's also just a beast of like, there's this one scene where she's like chasing after one ship, and she's just like dodging in and out, and like she's prime. And then like when she does her final like power move where she like unbuckles herself inside of her seat and then use the Force to control the whole ship. Like the ship's not even flying, she's using the Force to fly the ship, and she like puts all the energy in the front of the ship and like cuts through another ship. I'm like, I think she could give Anakin a run for best
for best piloting skills or just like Force sensitivity, because I understand what you're saying about Force sensitivity.
So that's why you have two characters.
Being able to connect people have to do with piloting?
Because it's just like
she's Grace, get on.
Oh boy, here we go. No, it's because like she's able to fly her ship with ease while also holding all these other Jedi together through the Force. Like she can do it, but then even as an individual, like there's scenes when she's just flying individually where she's insanely good at like control and dodging and fighting in her starship. And I'm like,
yeah, but Anakin ships are more advanced and harder to control. They're faster.
So she's using a less advanced ship and still being able to compete.
Yeah, but it was going slower probably.
No, those vectors were way fast, dude.
How do we know?
Because we know they just look at the official art for them and what they look like. They're super fast.
Uh,
I don't know. That's my hot take. If you want to disagree,
That's
go
hot.
ahead. But
You're really hot right now.
she's the only one that can give him a run for his money.
If
That's all I'm
Andrew
saying.
was here right now, he would tell you,
Get out.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
Grace probably doesn't know about that button.
No, but it was a good sound.
That's the get out button.
I see where you're coming from. Like, she's clearly very sensitive in the Force. I don't know what you're basing her elite piloting skills on, but it's
what
fine.
I just described.
Yeah, but one chapter in a book.
No, it was multiple chapters.
Sorry, 2 chapters.
Yeah, literally. I don't want to say it's wrong. I'm just looking for a bit more proof.
Grace,
I know. I'm just saying we haven't seen Anakin do those skills before. Like, he's good, but like what we see of him, like, is just basic stuff. We don't see him do these crazy things that she's doing. And what's the thing? He's always crashing half ships anyway. That's the joke, right? Another half a ship that he's landed, like, he loses. Okay, whatever. Moving on.
Whatever. Stop thinking that Anakin is not the chosen one, okay?
I didn't say that he's not the chosen one. I'm saying that Avar could give him a run for his money. That's all I'm saying.
Well, she might have to run from him, though.
No. All right, moving on. So, Buryaga, Bell, and Vernestra, they land, and they go to help with trying to find General Vise. And as they enter into the compound or the palace or whatever, something happens. And the 2 nameless that were there that Vise called off when she was fighting Porter, they're still there, and they start walking in, and Vernestra, Bell, and Buryaga get consumed by fear and are about to die. And this was intense. This was like one of the scenes that Mark Thompson was doing when he's just in the scenes, and it's just insane. And so at this point, Kair Santeca, he's like escaped, and he's like got a secret room of like weapons, and so he's trying to fight his way out. So he runs into Vernestra, and he's able to like pull her away far enough where she can like gather her thoughts, and they both shoot guns and they kill a nameless. So that's cool. We didn't really get a lot of that part of that, but that's like what happened with one of them. But the main focus was the one with Buryaga and Bell, and this was a scary scene.
Yeah,
it was pretty intense. And Bell almost died. Like, he was like the closest, and so it sounded like he lost like part of his fingertips. Like, is that true? Because they didn't really talk about after the fact, but like it made it sound like he lost like the tips of his fingers to like the nameless, like how like it started to turn to ash, like it does with like the
I wasn't sure either, because I also thought that like Avar got affected, and I didn't realize that you could reverse the effects of the nameless, but clearly you can, because it didn't seem like they were crumbling to dust.
Maybe it was a little confusing. So like I thought they were gonna go back to like after the fact, like he's gonna be in the med bay like with his hands wrapped up or something, but maybe
the next book.
Maybe it's just he needs to put some lotion on and it rehydrates. I don't know. But
moisturize, yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's how you just fight the nameless. You just gotta have enough moisturizer on hand. Like,
it's all about the lotion, man.
Yep. Just some nice cocoa butter or something, like
some Dove,
some aloe vera or something. But
or maybe some coffee and tea.
True.
Oh, wow.
If you're a force sensitive individual and you're about to die because you're close proximity to a force eating monster called a nameless, maybe you should just take a step back, gather your thoughts, and have a hot beverage such as coffee or tea from our sponsor, Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So let's take a little coffee break.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code Empire Radio, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, cool. So, Buryaga and Bell are about to die.
Yes.
But we get this conflict with the Nameless from Burry's perspective. And he's getting consumed by fear that he is like drowning and can't breathe, because when he fell with the Starlight Beacon into the ocean of Iriam, like he's trapped underground in an underwater cave for like, it was like a month or something like that.
Yeah,
and
like
so
a really long time.
So he's being consumed by the fear that he can't breathe, even though he is on level ground. And so he's freaking out, but he knows, like, he's talking to himself like, this isn't real, but like, you're being consumed by it. And he can sense Bell suffering and about to die, and he can sense his fear. And what he does is he is able to locate the source of the fear, like where that fear is coming from, his own fear as well as Bell's. And he just kind of was able to turn his lightsaber on and just throw it, just hoping that his aim and what he's sensing is there, and it works. He hits the Nameless with the lightsaber and kills it. And that's the end. But like, Mark Thompson was just screaming his lungs out, like so much intensity, and I'm like, this is intense, and I couldn't believe it. And it was such a powerful scene for me when I was reading / listening to it, and so I really liked it. But it was like, what did he say? I think it was like afterwards, Burry was like, his empathy is what was able to kill the Nameless. Like his empathy for someone suffering was able to give him strength to find the focus of the fear, which is interesting. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love how in the High Republic we get to see how different Jedis see the Force. Like with Avar, it's the like music that's connecting people. With Elzar, it's the waves, and then with Burry, it's this like empathy, personal connection, and it's really cool. Again, not only to get his perspective, but then to see how his unique connection to the Force allows them to early in the book deal with the Drengir and the like Elia Ann on that tree planet or whatever, and in this scene like actually take down a Nameless, which I didn't realize, but this is the first time we've seen Jedi successfully killing a Nameless, right? Like it wasn't, I mean, maybe I guess you see that in phase 2, but like in this phase,
yeah, we haven't seen, because we see it that kills Loden, Bell's master, and then Grandmaster Pratri Veter in the last book. I think that's like what we've seen of them, but like you said, like we've never seen them actually defeat one. So that's interesting. There's like I'm trying to figure out. I'm going through my notes, but there's like when Buryaga gives his report to the Jedi Council about what happened. Like he says it was chapter 43, but like he's talking to them, he's like talking about, like, it's about empathy, and there's a line, I should have wrote this down earlier, but like bear with me.
Oh yeah, please find it, because this also feeds into my theory that he's gonna like connect with the Nameless and like understand what their true purpose is.
So page 296. Master Chris blew through her lips, and Burry looked to see her nodding. She said, "More for the council than Burry. It was you at Hetzel who felt the people on the ship first and warned us. You're strong with empathy." Burry nodded. "Do you think that's what it takes?" Vernesha asked. "Empathy?" Not too much, I hope," Master Kisaka said wearily. Testing this possibility is not an option, Master Yoda said. Master Chris said, "Disseminating the information is. The mere possibility needs to be shared, even if it's not enough for most or the circumstances were unique." So, like, eventually, first I was like, Yoda was, and the Master Kisaka were like against the idea of empathy, like, because maybe it has to do with attachment.
Yeah.
But like, then Master Chris, says that it's not enough for most or the circumstances were unique. Like, I guess it's we can't rely on. I guess what Yoda was saying, and the other master was saying, was like, you can't rely on empathy as fixing the problem or fighting the nameless. But like, because we see later on at the next conflict with the nameless that they take a different tactic where they pull fear out of another Jedi so they can focus. And so, but I was just kind of like, man, the Jedi don't want to focus on empathy. Like, the leaders are like, that's not a good focus. Like, I don't know.
Do you think it was just because it was too dangerous? Like, a Jedi has to get too close and it's like too risky that it doesn't work? Like, that was my read on why they were opposed to it.
That's what it seems like Avar was saying in the next line, how like not every circumstance can be like that. But
Yeah.
she's like, but she's still like, it's still something we need to like think about and discuss. Which is interesting because like we do see that as a solution to Nameless. Like, we're theorizing that the Blight is going to be what might be used to fight the Nameless next book, but like there are Jedi ways that can be used to fight these Nameless, even though it's pretty impossible.
Do we have any idea how many Nameless there are? Like, what sort of numbers are the Jedi looking at?
Well, so
I think right now there's only like 2 left that we know of.
So V's had 2 that were killed, and then Ro had 2, which one was killed.
No, but remember when he landed on that planet, both of them were there. He had 2.
Right, but one was killed.
No, but when he landed on Coruscant, it talked about 2.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were referring to that.
Yeah, so he had. So I think those are the only 2 that we know of still.
But
because Jeremiah, to your point, I was confused about that because I thought he sent one, but then when he was landed on Coruscant, there was 2 described to that point.
So I think it's just he just has a stash, like a
he has
a stable of them or something.
But is his stash like he has 50? Does he have eggs? Like, what's I think that the Jedi could easily defeat them without the Blight if there's just 3 left. Like, at this rate, they're getting through them really quickly. But if there's like 100 left, or an endless number.
Something that they didn't really go into much in this book from last book was that Bulin guy. Like, we see, okay, here's one that he made that has like cybernetic spine and like a tail or something, a special tail. Like, you need a special scientist to do that, and it didn't even do anything that was unique. Like,
yeah, I bet that's in a comic. I haven't been keeping up to date on the comics, but
so
come on, like, Grace, you have one job.
I'm sorry.
What have you been doing all summer?
So lame. Just fighting crime.
I guess that's
just running marathons and stuff.
But it's like, okay, the Bulin last book was like, I'm making these super powerful, extra strong Nameless, and like we see one, but like we don't know what was different about other than what it looks like. And so like I'm assuming since he's doing experiments, like he has a bunch that he's working on to use.
Well, he's probably gonna get them cloned.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I just think it's going to make a difference what approach the Jedi take, like the number of nameless they have to deal with. But I guess that's something that maybe the writers of the book are still figuring out themselves, which is fine,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I'm pretty
No
sure
worries.
that next book, which comes out and is probably already done or close to being done. So
Is it coming out in the fall?
no, it's coming out like in like
The winter?
January, maybe, or maybe not January, early 2025, I think.
So far.
We
So-
can't even do that before the next
No,
show.
when is it coming out? No, it's even later than that. Spring of 2025.
Ugh.
So that means it's not done.
I don't know.
But they've been working on these books for like 4
Bro,
years.
don't
4
even get me
years.
started. You're going down a path
No,
you
okay.
don't want me to follow.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
telling you.
The book might not be done being written, but like the
Well,
story,
the concept, yes, yeah,
story
for
points
sure.
are already
For
determined.
sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
so
but
they
Story
can't go
Points
back and
doesn't- yeah, that's
they can't go
true.
back and make any major changes now. It's too late for that. But yeah.
Mhm.
So
Reshoots.
your shoes.
Edits.
But yes, so then at this point, General V, she escapes, and Avar, she's went back up. She's already up in the sky, still fighting, and they tell her, "Hey, Vise is on her way. You gotta maybe try and stop her." Blah blah blah, because she's like in a yacht or whatever, like a Naboo
pleasure yacht.
And like they try to stop it, like they like throw other starships at the yacht to like stop it.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was kind of cool. I'm into
cool, but I'm like, it would be cool if they were successful, but
of course.
So everyone on the ground, they're safe, but obviously there's still Nihil on the ground that they're fighting. But like, so then to stop, I forget what happened, but like, because V still gets away, but she Avar goes to stop another ship. There's like a little like small little like connector point, and she like uses her, I got an idea, and she like takes off her harness and like she like connects with the Force. She's floating in this cockpit, and she puts all of like the extra energy power from the ship to the forward shields, and she just goes full speed and rams through the thing to like break the ship apart. And she did it, and she's fine. And that's when Elzar shows up. Like, hey, girl, I'm here. And she's like, Elzar. And he's like, Avar. I'm like, okay. So I don't know. That was a cool scene. I don't know. She was just kind of BA in that moment of like being super powerful in the Force. Using
Yeah,
ship.
she's the best. She's really cool. I wish
Jeremiah,
she wasn't British, but
Hey, why? Wow, that's aggressive. Grace over here.
Wait, what did she say? You said something, so I didn't hear what she said.
She's like, I wish
Oh.
she wasn't British.
British?
I just find her accent annoying. But I like
I
Avar.
didn't hear anything.
Yeah, she has a European accent for sure.
Maybe a little
You
bit.
just did it when you were imitating her. Avar, Elsa.
Yeah,
She talks like that.
Well, maybe it's not British. Maybe something else, a little more like maybe like one
like-
parent. One parent is maybe British, but they live in the United States or something. Like that's a little bit of a thing.
It's definitely
No, really, it's super British. It's super annoying.
It's pretty.
Super
It's like
British?
it's like very London,
Yeah.
No, I
like
think
pure
of it
London,
being way more. When I think of British, I think it's more like super.
like Charlie, like
Yeah,
that. I
like
think it's like that. No,
Yes.
it's not like gargly. It's clean British. It's like
Yeah,
London,
it's posh.
London
Well,
proper,
If you're from
London
Britain,
proper.
London, something like that, send in a voicemail talking about all the different kinds of accents, because that island has like 50 different accents. So like
It's true.
It's
they're
true.
all a little different. So maybe we're all hearing different British accents or whatever. But
That's true.
But
yeah.
it's definitely European for sure.
Yep.
Mhm.
So this is where.
But Jeremiah, what is your thought of the relationship in this book?
Whoa.
'Cause I know
Yeah,
you.
are we
That's
getting
what
into it?
That's what
Okay,
I'm
good.
gonna. My next bullet point here. So
Was your
those
book
are-
a soft cover book?
me?
Yeah.
No, this is my notebook
Oh, I thought that was a book.
where I have
was
my
like,
notes for
"Geez."
tonight. No, I got the regular book here. I just have to sleeve off it because who reads
Yeah.
a hard cover with
No.
a sleeve on it.
No.
I put mine back on after I finished it.
Yeah, I can't do that. Well, maybe I will put it back on when I'm done.
What happened to your sleeve? You just throw it away?
I just took it off. It's somewhere around here, but I don't know why don't they just make the book hardcover with just a picture?
The images on there?
Like, why do you need to have a sleeve on it? I know you're supposed to use the thing as a bookmark, but like, no.
Where you
The
are?
sleeve is pretty.
That's one of the reasons for you take the sleeve out and like put it in the page and then you close it.
I thought that was for Pokemon cards were for.
I use a Pokemon card as my bookmark.
Yeah, we found out last time that
this is a different one. This is Ghastly though. So
we found out that Jeremiah and Andrew both use a Pokemon card to for their thing. It was pretty funny.
That's really funny. What Pokemon?
I had Ghastly this time around.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Pokemon?
Not really, but all my friends love it. They'll be ashamed that I don't know. Which one did Andrew use?
Ghastly is. Great.
He's like one of the
I'm
original.
sorry. I am a girl. I didn't grow up.
That doesn't mean
Pokemon.
anything.
Oh,
Empire Radio fully supports women liking the thoughts of Grace do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Empire Radio.
I'm so sorry. It's because I'm sick today. It's just all coming out unfiltered.
Whoa.
Obviously, yeah, it's great. My brother played Pokemon.
No, I haven't watched Pokemon in like 20 years because after they like
Ghastly's original 152, man. You gotta know Ghastly.
Sounds old.
That's like saying, like, you know who Pikachu is?
I know what Pikachu is.
Okay. What Pikachu is? Not who Pikachu is? Okay, moving on. So, we're going to talk about Elzar and Avar. Yeah. I'll just make a quick note because we won't, it's not really a big thing, but during this book, Elzar is dealing with the decision whether or not he wants to join the Jedi Council because the Jedi Council offered him a seat. And so he's like, I don't know what to do. Give me time. And so during all this, he's dealing with that. So we're not really going to talk. At the end, he says, towards the end, he's like, I'm not going to do it. I want to be a connection between the Jedi and the politics of things like this, the Republic. He wants to be that mediator type of thing. So that's what he decides. But as he's talking with Avar and stuff and dealing with the relationship, he's dealing with this as well, which adds extra pressure on his shoulders. So yes, a long time coming. Finally, we get this, them talking about themselves and what they want to be after 4 books of like tiptoeing around and stuff, which they're dealing with like storm walls and stuff. They don't have time to like fall in love, but like finally they're working together. They're, one of the first chapters was like Avar goes to his Jedi apartment and they have lunch, like dinner thing with some food that with Stellan they would always get. So they had like a third bun, like oh no, Stellan, he's dead.
So and then he gives her the diadem that he made for her.
Okay, yeah, we're getting there. So we're going part by part. So like early on, they're like in their mind, they're like, "How you doing?" Like they're not saying it, but they want to say it. There's tiptoeing around. And so there's like different things that happen. So like the main thing that like the first big step was there's the garden scene where it's a masters only Jedi like meditation garden. And so Avar's in there. She's like floating above the ground for like 5 hours meditating. And Elzar comes in and she's like, I could feel his music come into the garden or whatever. And he touched my shoulder or something. And so I sat down or whatever, whatever. And so they have this wonderful conversation about their feelings, about pain and suffering and what they're doing with their life. And like, I really like this chapter because like I knew that they were going to make this romantic, but like, I'm also like in favor of men and women having meaningful friendships. Like, and so it's like, I was kind of hoping that they would just stay that way because that's how they've always been, where it's like, they have a very close personal friendship with each other that can still be described as love because, you love your friends and stuff, but like,
oh, Jeremiah, you love me?
You're in the running. Yep.
Yeah.
I only have a few slots, so I can't get too much attachment. But
top 5. tough,
maybe.
Okay, well,
but
all right, let's
so
keep
like
going before I get depressed. All right,
so they're at this moment we're just talking about life, really opening up. Elzer finally has someone to talk to about his problems, and he tells about the Jedi Council position, and like Grace just mentioned, he gets her a new diadem, like tiara thing, whatever, like because she had it in the first book, but did she like lose it or what?
Yeah, I think she
happened?
loses it when Starlight Beacon falls.
yeah, it
like
was
she
like
takes
part
it
of
off.
it. Yeah,
Oh, like when they're on the ground after the fact, she drops on the
Yeah.
ground and
Or
runs
like when
away.
she's in the occlusion zone, she like wants to go undercover.
Oh, right. And so Elzar, and then he gets like he spent a lot of money on this thing. Like the way it was described, like this was like
Because he
super
gets
fancy.
three gems instead of just one.
Yeah, because like one for
One
each
for
of
each of
them,
them.
for Elzar, Avar, and Stellan.
Oh, so cute.
And so I really enjoyed this chapter. Like their meaningful friendship, they're getting close. They're like finally sharing their feelings with each other. I'm like, perfect. Now I knew the whole love thing was probably going to happen, so like I have to like accept that, because Grace, you probably don't know this because like you haven't been with us a lot, but like I hate romantic relationships that don't actually matter. Like I hate when they just throw them in stories just for fun or whatever. So like if there's a romantic relationship, like it has to matter. And
Yeah.
so
Okay.
like if they're gonna make this love thing between Avar and Elzar, like is love, like it has to actually matter to the story, not just because they want a love story just to be parallel to everything else going on. So after the battle at Naboo, everyone's recovering. Porter, he's being Chef Porter Engel, making his egg stew and making other stuff, and people are like, kind of decompressing from the battle. And I think it was Avar was already there. I think someone was already there, and then the other person came in, and they just sat down and started talking, and then in front of everyone, Avar kisses Elzar, like
which was crazy.
I think it was like a small, quick kiss or whatever they said.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is weird. I guess
and they've already at this point spent the night in each other's apartment in the Jedi Temple, so like we knew something romantic was happening.
Yeah, they did in the other book. They already like
in this book, right? Didn't he like
that
go over?
No.
Didn't they sleep over with the buns?
No, maybe.
Am I just maybe?
I think at that point it was still strictly
professional.
Platonic.
Didn't he like fall asleep on the ground with her? Okay. Yeah.
I think at that point it's still platonic.
But they didn't kiss or do anything though.
Yeah,
that's.
I think based on the progression of what's in this book, I think it means that they, because later on in the book when it gets a little more not family friendly, it's like this is like the first time like stuff.
But didn't they in the previous book though?
They might have kissed in the previous book. Nothing. They've never done anything.
I thought they did, because then that was like the big mistake that they had.
Yeah, they definitely kissed, right?
No, I think they did more than kissing in the previous book.
Nah,
I'm pretty sure
it wasn't in.
No, I don't think that ever happens in Star Wars. Even in this book, they just kissed.
So
right?
Okay.
No.
Okay, so I wasn't going to bring it up, but I think in the first book,
yes,
it said when they were teenagers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they did. Right?
But it was never in these books that they were ever doing anything.
Okay.
But I'm also don't know if it might have been Avar and Stellan. I can't remember.
What?
I think it was Avar and Elzar, or maybe and then Stellan
the mention
was
of something happened when they were teenagers. I can't remember if it was Avar and Elzar, if it was Avar and Stellan. I can't remember. But that's a whole different thing. That doesn't matter. But like the way that it's described in this book, it seems like it was like Elzar's first. Well, okay. In the second book, he had a fling with Rill, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was with Rill briefly in the second book.
Maybe it was.
But this is the first.
Guys, listen to this. Let me just read a little segment from chapter 2 when they're
this book?
in the room together sharing the bun. Avar gave him time.
Okay, hold on. What's the bun?
They went and got buns. Like,
oh, okay.
Sorry, the pastry.
I'm like, what are we talking about? Like, is bun a creature? Is it an alien? She's like, with the bun. I'm like, so is there like people around? Like, I'm so confused what a bun is in this. Like, that could mean so many things in Star Wars.
You're right.
Like,
You're right. No, okay.
What page are you on?
Well, I'm on
Assuming that
an audio, a digital book, but it's chapter 1. I don't know, maybe page 20, but unclear. Chapter 1.
Oh.
End of chapter 1, like the last page or two.
last
Avar
page is 20, so.
Okay, so maybe a couple before that. Avar gave him time. She breathed gently, tapping her heartbeat against his shoulder. Finally, he said, Stellan would have told me to get right with myself with the Force, and then he would have wanted me to tell the council, blah, 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 that's right, back and forth. Elzar shifted, lowering to lie fully on the floor with his cheek on her thigh. Avar combed her fingers through his hair and stroked his tear-damp beard. Okay. That sounds pretty romantic to me.
It can be, but also I don't think that anything else happened other than that.
Yes, that's fine.
Just because based on the progression of what was happening, that wouldn't have happened yet. So anyway, moving forward, we're trying to keep this as family friendly as possible.
Hey, it's in the book.
Yes, but there's also this is family friendly. So, but later on,
totally fine.
So also on Naboo, you know, they meet by themselves, whatever. I think it was like they're looking at like the moon or something off a balcony or something like that.
It's probably where Anakin had sand everywhere. It was probably like the same spot.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Think about that. Like, you're making me uncomfortable. Like, but like they start talking, and Avar confesses that she loves Elzar, and so he's taken aback by that. But also during this whole thing, when they're talking, she goes in for 3 kisses. Like it's just like it's just I don't know. It's just awkward for me. Like she's like, you know, I just need you to say my name. Like that's all I want. I don't need anything else. If I can just hear you say my name when we see each other, like that's enough for me. I don't know. What do you guys think about like this thing where Avar confesses love, but like, you know, she's like, all I need is just to hear you say my name, and then Elzar's like, I don't want, because he himself is like walking away basically because it's too much for him to. One, he doesn't want like the attachment, like he fears that because he's already dealing with the dark side. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Was it awkward for you guys, or did you like it? I don't know. Grace seems like she's on team, you know, Elzar Avar, but
the chat. Dang, Naboo has a way of making Jedi forget their vows. Yeah, it's a magical place for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Was it awkward, or was it just like?
I mean, I love it, so I feel like maybe Drew should go. I don't want to just like.
I don't know.
Since you guys are clearly more dubious.
So, like, I think the relationship matters to the story. Now, if I need to figure out, because now it bothers me, like, is the relationship was the other person, the other Jedi, not him in the previous books? Because now that kind of bothers me. Like, if she already had a fling with someone else, and then because the whole time I'm thinking it's him, because I remember that she had a relationship and she did something with someone else.
I remember what you're talking about.
I
can't remember which one of the two it was.
It was Elzar. For sure it was Elzar.
I don't know. I would have to go back and I meant to go look it up. It's probably on Wikipedia. Look, the
Grace will find it.
um,
But either way, so like my thing is like the relationship matters a lot. I just felt like in the book it just took too long.
It takes too long. You're 100%
Like
right.
I don't think it doesn't bother me because like I mean, yeah, the Val thing and the whole Yoda saying pretty much was like, yeah, go for it, but then like
the thing about Yoda,
he like manipulated Yoda to give him the right answer though.
I don't think Yoda understood that Elzar was asking about romantic love also.
Yeah. So like that bothered me because it seems like he figured out a way for Yoda to give him the thumbs up without actually being blunt with Yoda.
It's kind of similar to the way that Anakin describes love when he's talking to Padme about it in Attack of the Clones. Remember when they're on the ship and she's like, I thought Jedi weren't allowed to love. And he's like, well, like actually.
We're encouraged to love, blah, 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 blah.
It's the purest form of being a Jedi is love.
Yeah, okay. God, I'm glad you guys can quote that. I forgot his exact line, but exactly, yeah.
Yeah. It's like that. So like it shows you the potential downfall of his character if something happens to her.
Yeah.
So like I like that part. I just thought in the book I'm like, dude, can we get there? Like why are we dragging this? So the whole time I'm reading this, right? I'm reading this romantic thing and all this stuff. The entire time I'm like, Jeremiah probably hates all this. Jeremiah is annoyed right now. I'm like, if Jeremiah likes this, then he has no excuse to like hate on Lost Stars because the relationship in that is so much better in my opinion. So like that's why I was wondering your opinion on this because everyone says that Lost Stars is a romantic book, which it is, but it's done in such a better way than this, in my opinion. So like I was just more viewing it through the eyes of what Jeremiah would be thinking. But yeah, like I think it matters, but at the same time, it just dragged. I was just like, either do it or not. Like, let's figure it out. And then when they described it, like you said, Jeremiah was like, what are we doing? Because like you kind of only see it through his perspective.
Yeah.
Which kind of like bothered me because like it seemed like she didn't care. Like
that's what I was gonna say. It's like he's very Anakin coded where he's like struggling with the romance and worried about it pulling him to the dark side. And she's like our like stable character who's just like totally fine with the romance, even though she's also a Jedi.
Yeah, and that was a little thing that kind of like
I just read her monologue here. So bottom of page 260. So this is after she says, I love you for the first time. Elzar exhaled hard and fast. Avar slid her hand back and grabbed his hair. I've struggled with it too. Thought it was dangerous, selfish, something to be carved out. That's a common interpretation of what we're taught. But that's also too easy of an answer. That love is attachment. That it's selfish, possessive. It isn't. I was wrong. Those things are real and dangerous to Jedi, to anyone, but they aren't love. In my worst moments, I've loved you. In my greatest grief and failure, I still loved you. And it didn't turn me down the wrong path. It's what got me back on my feet. I stood back up and reached back. Love back. People, the Force, watching hope spread and being all over the galaxy. Keep fighting. Keep trying. That's love. That's the purest form of light. How can a sliver of it here between us be so wrong? And just skip down. I love you so much, and it's not a hindrance. Attachment, possessive. Those are hindrances because they limit a Jedi's potential. They make the galaxy smaller, but love is limitless, Elzar. Just like the Force itself is limitless. There's no end to it. Avar laughed a little. If there was an end to the Force, to love, to hope, don't you think we'd all found it in the last few years? But we're black holes for love, unending notes of bottomless seas. We make the galaxy bigger with love, with the Force bursting inside us.
And so answer my question.
But what was your question? I wasn't saying I was answering your question. I was reading a quote. What was your question?
Well, it just like that was her like reasoning behind it, but like I don't know, it doesn't like do it for me.
But like so like but reading this, like I'm still at the point where like yes, she kisses him 3 times. I think it was here. But like one, for most of human history in most cultures, kissing is not romantic. So like I still think this could have been like a friendship kiss, even though we don't do that in our culture. But like, because she like even says like wherever it was, I just need you to hear you say my name. Like that says enough. Like she's not pursuing a romantic relationship with him per se. She's like, all I just need is you to be with me, like as a friend. Now later on, they'd go all out and like we're going Facebook official like type of thing. But I was still at the point where I'm like, maybe they're just still gonna just stay friends like they were in the garden, where they loved each other and they share everything with each other, but they don't have love.
Like a romantic love.
Like they're just friends. They're just the best friends that deeply love each other in a platonic way and at a deeper level, just because they can connect with the Force and they've grown up together and they've gone through shared trauma together, going with stuff in the galaxy. But like,
but like I know you said the whole thing about like the whole kissing thing, but I feel like he wouldn't be struggling with that if that was that perspective.
but he's also just is all getting thrown on him in that moment. Like he didn't
Yeah,
expect
but
this to come
I
up. So
really
it's like,
think she was just like the amount of things that she's been through, she just doesn't care anymore. And like, yeah, like she has a definition of what she thinks, but then like but in that definition though, it doesn't say like, oh, what if he dies? Like is
well,
that love that you have for him so great that you're gonna actually fall because he
then
died?
but then whatever, when he has that conversation with Yoda, like Yoda is like, yes, Jedi are supposed to love, but it lacks attachment. Now, I don't know how that's possible. Like, he uses example, like when your parents let the Jedi come and like they gave you away, like, did they not love you in that moment? Or did they still loved you, but they weren't attached to you? Now,
I don't think that's real
yes,
though.
like, yes, Yoda is right, but it's also not the same. Like with what they've had a lifetime together, and like, yeah, obviously, parents have a newborn baby and it's a year old or something. Like, yeah, they're super attached. Like they love that kid more than anything in the galaxy. But like, it's still different when it's 1 year. And you also like, but they're going in good hands to the Jedi. They're gonna be a positive thing. They're gonna save lives. Like,
that's the thing is like it's different though, because it's like I love my kids so much. I want the best for them, and in my eyes, that would be the best for them. So it's not that I don't have an attachment to my kid. I'm literally giving my kid away because I want the best for them, and I'm willing to not give. Like I'm willing to give up my physical attachment to my child because I'm literally letting it go, but it doesn't mean I don't have emotional, physical attachment to him. Like if the Jedi knocked on my door right now, like my kid is 2 years old. I have a pretty strong physical, mental, like attachment to my kid, but if I knew that was the best for them, it'd be hard, but I would
no,
probably.
you wouldn't give up Miles.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Miles would.
It depends on.
He would be too boisterous of a kid to like.
He would turn to the dark side pretty quick.
Yeah, he'd be pretty quick.
Because he's pretty aggressive and he has a hard attachment. But that's the thing, though. Like your kid has an attachment. So to say when Yoda said that, I was like, "Bro, you've never had a kid before. I don't know what you're talking about. Like that's not how kids work. It's like
Never
that's not
had
how
a
the
kid
Force
until
works."
he gave birth to Grogu.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how that works. I don't know, Grace. We need you to weigh in. Like,
Oh, but I just disagree with you guys, so it's hard.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
what do you
that's
mean? Like,
what you mean.
what is your
That's what we
interpretation
need.
of? What's your interpretation of the scene then?
I mean, my interpretation is that there has been a romantic relationship between these two across all of the books. And that it's been building to this like climax in this book where they finally are both willing to admit their feelings for each other. And it's really cool and interesting because like basically never in Star Wars do we get a successful romance between Jedi. We have like our quintessential examples in the prequels with Anakin where like why Jedi romance fails. And then we have a lot of examples of like almost romances. But I like that here they're just like full sending it, having it be a romantic relationship and coming up with a justification for like why, at least for Avar, I think it is actually okay for her to have this love. I think with Elzar, ultimately, it's going to be his downfall, and like whatever that it is, what it is. But yeah, I think it's really interesting the way that they're trying to come at the themes of attachment and love and romance in this way, and to push back on the whole concept of platonic friends. I don't know. I feel like the relationship that both of them have with Stellan was clearly platonic. Like they were friends, they cared, they grew up together, but then like the way that they related to each other has always seemed different to me, and because there was like a third party involved, it's like a pretty good point of comparison to see how it's always been romantic for the two of them. But yeah, I don't know. I love a romance, so I just come at it from a different perspective than Jeremiah. But I think your point is interesting.
I just think that it wasn't so they had their, assuming that you're right that Elzar and Avar had a fling when they were teenagers.
I'm pretty sure I remember
like
that.
That's when that was one time that said when they were teenagers, but then they went how many years, 30, 40 years since then?
Well,
and
but
it wasn't until these books that it started to come to fruition, because they had that connection, like dealing with the Nihil in the first book, and he had because she became the appointed to be the marshal of Star Beacon, like she separated from them, so it was like he was dealing with the attachment there, where like she's no longer part of the trio because she's been promoted, and then like she's gone. So like that's what causes them to look back at the relationship and see like what the relationship actually is. But like if they didn't get separated, I felt like it would have stayed the same, because they would have been in the same.
Potentially, yeah.
Because like it wasn't really until last book when Avar stuck behind a storm wall, and Elzar's in Republic, where Elzar was like really like, I need her.
Yeah.
So it's like it would have stayed platonic if there wasn't this major separation and fear of death, and
it would have stayed platonic because like Jedi don't have relationships. Like they were both too scared to pursue it.
Well, right.
And they knew, but I think that's what I was saying. Like all this stuff that she went through, she don't care anymore. She's like, I went through the darkest time of any Jedi's life. I was alone, trying to survive in the galaxy, in a part of the galaxy where I was literally hunted every day for over a year. And then I come back to my boo. I'm gonna be with my boo, like, and I don't care. And that's literally what it was. So, like, for me, like those kisses were not a friendship kiss at all. Like that was her, like, what are you gonna do now, homie?
But in the moment, she was fine.
She was still fine if
it was just gonna be friends moving forward. Like
she was fine, but she wanted him to know that she loved him, and like she's willing to just love him. So like she can just love him from a distance if that's what he wants, because he's had trouble with the dark side and whatever, and like issues. But I kissed you, so what are you gonna do? Like that's the way I was viewing it the whole time. I'm like, no, this girl wants him. What's he going to do about it? He had to go talk to Yoda. He was offered to be part of the Jedi Council. That was a whole thing. And he was like, I don't know. Am I worthy? And then he was like debating about doing it. That girl kissed him. He figured out that Yoda was like okay with him being in love. And then he was like, oh, by the way, no, I'm not going to be part of the Jedi Council, by the way. Homie, we know why you're not going to be part of the Jedi Council.
I'm pretty sure it was in that conversation before Yoda gave the thumbs up that he said he was not joining the council.
Correct. It was before that, but I think either way he was going to, either if Yoda said, oh no, I think he still was going to pursue that relationship. Because that was the only thing that was holding him mentally and physically together.
But what was the tipping point for Elzar started with something Xylan said about caring. Like that's what caused him to like reevaluate the importance of caring, and is that and caring is love. And then that's when he goes to Yoda looking for more, because he's like trying to understand what love is, and then through that words from Xylan, it's like there's because he talks about like how like there's the dark side is part of the Force, and then but like it's the good things about the light side touches the dark side, and you have to be on that line. And then Yoda is, his thing is like when you make a mistake, just choose to do the right thing the next time.
Yeah.
So it's like walking that line without giving up. You just gotta keep moving back to the light. So it's like when he gets an attachment to Avar, he just has to choose to step to the light in that moment rather than letting it consume him. So that's how he's trying to dabble that line of like the whole thing, which is a dangerous line to walk on, I think. So,
and I think we're gonna see that.
Yep.
I like your point, Jeremiah, though. I think it's interesting to think, like, again, to me, that's the main takeaway from their relationship, that like how they're exploring what a relationship between two people can be, like what love really is for a Jedi. Like even, like I think it's probably romantic, but even if it wasn't, I think your point about like exploring relationships and emotions and romance in a positive way is cool and interesting, and probably what the book is going for.
Yep. And so then we'll just say towards the end of the book, they go all out and they're Facebook official now, we'll just say, to keep things family friendly. So then just to end on this part before the final story part of the book, but someone in the chat, eSportsy, says during these scenes they should be playing the song "What Is Love? Don't Hurt, Baby, Don't Hurt Me," and do the head nod, like the song. So, yep. So I guess they're in love. Then they're going all out, and it's gonna be interesting if they're gonna try and like hide it though, still, or if they're gonna like just be out in the open. Like they're gonna be holding hands, walking to the Jedi Temple. Like
I don't think that's gonna work for you.
So it'll be interesting to see how like they go about maintaining this romance moving forward. Right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So the big climax at the end of the book. So we're going long. So like we said earlier, Gira, she gives the coordinates to like different planets that Ro has been at. So they see the different planets and look at that. He's going to these planets that had blight on it, and so they like we got to make an educated guess on which planet he's going to go to next. That's the closest to go to or whatever. So they make the judgment. He's going to this planet, which is Vixoseph 1. Fun planet to say, Vixoseph. And so Mark Enro is on this planet. He's just doing research, looking at blight, all this stuff. The Jedi arrive, but the Gaze Electric, his ship, leaves right when they arrive. So they're thinking, oh, we just missed him. But we're still going to go see what he was looking at or whatever. So he has two nameless with him, one with a cybernetic enhancement on the spine, like on the tail, I think. And he's just going along, looking around. And so the Jedi go down. We got Elzar, Buri, Avar, and Vernestra. Because I think Bell is in a ship flying around, maybe also, or back on the. He's still recovering, right? From the Naboo, I can't remember, but I don't think he's there really. And so they get on down there and they run into crap. Just hits the fan because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
So Ro is with the Nameless and doing thing. So Avar, Elzar, and Buri, they kind of are going in the direction of where Ro is, like without them knowing that he's actually in that direction. Vernestra and some other pilots or whatever, they go find a ship that the Nihil have. The Nihil are fighting 2 Drengir during all this.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And so Vernestra and these other people, they're trying to fight the Nihil / the Drengir at the same time. They're fighting each other, and it's just like this chaos. And then while Elzar, Avar, and Buri are walking along, they see something coming, and the Robo Nameless is running right at them from a distance, and they're freaking out. Like, what do we do? Because Ro sent them after him, and so this, like I said, Mark Thompson in these chapters was the best he's ever been. Like, I'm gonna take him on Instagram, like complimenting him, but like, I love these scenes. This was so intense. This was probably one of my favorite scenes in like the whole High Republic books of like just how intense it was for me. And so, so Vernestra, we'll talk about her. Like, she's just kind of trying to do the best thing she can, but then she ends up having to like land, and she's like fighting the Drengir and the Nihil like on the ground, and she's trying to use her. I think she's trying to use her light whip, but still doesn't reach. And then while this is happening, the other Nameless that is coming with Markion's with the Nameless coming, so she has to like deal with the Nameless and Drengir and Ro, and it's just kind of.
She does it. Which
she
is
does
cool.
it. She's able to stay away, and she's like calling for like ship reinforcements. Like, I need help down here. I'm all by myself. And keep in mind, Vernestra is like what,
17
or a little bit older or something. Like, she's not that, but she's still like a Jedi.
She's a master though, right? Or
Not a
Jedi Knight.
No, she's a knight. Yeah.
She had
before she has her Padawan.
No, she had
she
a Padawan.
had a Padawan. Her Padawan. She lost her Padawan.
So, because did he die?
I think she had a Padawan die, and then she took a new Padawan, and that Padawan stayed in the occlusion zone to help with the rebellion. Yeah.
Right.
Is
he
Chimere? Yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting to find out. Probably not, because I think the time wouldn't work out.
Timeline wouldn't work out, but like, that's interesting that
she clearly has another Padawan that then turns to the dark side.
Because she says
she's had a bad track record.
Yeah, she's not good with
because she said the one that was trapped behind the storm wall became a knight with what he was doing. So like, he's trials and stuff like he was.
So yeah, she has one more, and then that one is the
Chimere.
Yeah. Because her one that she had before is a human, so it just like age-wise wouldn't work out. Like, he wouldn't still be alive during the Acolyte.
Right. And so but she ends up killing the one Drengir or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
And then she was trying to like fight like Ro or something. I can't remember exactly how it played out, but like, there's the other Drengir there also, and he just like takes a piece of blight, like this, I was thinking like a little pebble size or whatever, and just throws it at the Drengir.
Yeah.
Kills it.
That was pretty cool.
He just like gets on his ship that came down to rescue him. Is like, I don't know. I just picture him like hanging off the side, like with his little like glow stick thing. Like, I got you.
Yeah,
like, can't stop me. And so there's that. But then the main thing that's happening, Elzar, Avar, and Buri are face to face with this enhanced Nameless, and they're just all diving into fear. They're just super scared. Avar is trying to hold them together. They're trying to like talk to each other in the Force or whatever to like give each other strength and like try and like communicate with each other. Like, how do we do this? Can we see anything? Can we attack in any way? And what their solution was Avar and Buri thought that they could then maybe pull the fear out of an individual and that would clear their mind to be able to fight. And so that's what they did. They both used the Force. So obviously is helped by Avar's Force ability to connect people. So she connected with Burry, and they both pulled the fear out of Elzar so
cool.
that he could wake up enough and concentrate to attack. So he stabs it, and then while that's happening, like it jumps and like slashes Avar in the side or something with its tail.
Yeah.
So I thought
Yeah.
because they just became Facebook official. So
Yeah.
like I thought like now she's killed when
I
they
agree.
finally give in, but she's A-okay. But then he chops off the head with his lightsaber. And so I don't know. What you guys? Drew seemed to make a comment that you didn't like this scene, but Drew, you didn't like this final battle on?
It's not that I didn't. I just didn't care. Like this whole like thing, like compared to the last book, like I was just like, okay, they finally figured out how to kill one. Sweet. Like I don't know. I just didn't have like an attachment to this part of the story anymore.
Okay.
I don't know.
Grace.
Like, I mean, it's cool. Where was Belle? Belle was like on the ship somewhere or something.
I forget. I think
I was like super confused about that too because
Yeah.
for some reason I thought he was down there too, and he's like
he was doing something though with the mission. I can't remember.
He was involved. Poor
It was
Belle. They forgot how to write him well.
Well, and then like they didn't. His dog wasn't down there too because it was too tropical, right?
Oh, I remember. Or the
Oh,
dog
yeah.
can fit in the vector. Maybe there was. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
No, he could fit in the. He just couldn't go on that planet because it was too tropical. Because he set the whole
Yeah.
place on fire, essentially.
That's what
Yeah.
it was. Shout out to Ember. She's super.
Shout out to Ember.
I really liked
dope.
her in this book. Like she was catching Buryaga on fire like every 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Shout out to all the dogs, Plinka and Ember.
Yep.
The MVPs.
Yep. So Grace, what do you think
I
of
mean,
these?
you already did a good job of like summarizing it. It's a great scene. And I like it how like they need Avar's ability to connect people, Burryaga's empathy, and like Elzar's like bravery and lightsaber skills to like work together to kill the Nameless. That was cool. I mean, I liked it.
I know
it was a good climax.
I know you said before we started recording that like, did you finish reading the book just without the audiobook?
Yeah.
So you didn't hear Mark Thompson?
I don't think I heard this part narrated.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But I could listen. I have the audiobook. I could go back and listen, I guess.
Yeah, go back. So send in a voicemail for next episode. What just kidding. But yeah, so
2 days.
Yep. So, after, conflict happens, they, Ro, he escapes, all that jazz. And then,
the flower stuff. I think that's it.
Yeah. So Avar, she's, recovering. And then, we get a message from, because Ro contacts Gira and is like, I want to finally have that meeting in the Republic with Chancellor So that they've requested and stuff like that. And so it's like, oh, I didn't expect this. And it's like, hey, what does this actually mean? All this jazz. And so the final chapter is Mark and Ro arrives on Coruscant, meets with, there's like
Lena and Gira.
But there's also like Jedi Council members there, and
Isn't Avar there? Avar's there, right?
I think Avar and Elzar are there. I don't know about
Maybe
Avar.
not Avar. Yeah, just
she might be still
Elzar.
somewhere.
Elzar is there.
And because he yells something out like when he's not supposed to. But Ro comes off the ship and he has 2 Nameless, and everyone's like, no, this is not happening unless you get those guys back in there. And he's like, fine, no problem, guys. I have no problem. I'm safe. I'm good. I got all the power. He's all confident. And he talks to them about the blight. And he's like, this blight is a danger to the Nihil, people behind the storm wall, people in Republic space, to everyone. No one is safe. This blight will kill everyone in the galaxy, except for me. I know how to fix it. And he pulls a white flower out like President Snow from the Hunger Games and is like, throws it away. And as it's going through the air, it's turning into blight and ash and goes to nothing. And he walks back on a ship and leaves. And that's it. Like, I don't know. That end scene was pretty cool. Like,
it was cool.
Like, I don't know. I was just thinking President Snow from Hunger Games, like, because he always has his white roses and leaves them to like make a statement or whatever. So like he does the same thing. Like, so he was able to make the blight infect the flower somehow. Like, because it wasn't like he threw the blight at, like how you do with the Drengir. Like, he's actually like must be on his purple light thing that he's holding.
Or it's something unique to his species, or I'm not sure. And I haven't actually like looked online to see if people have theories about this. I wonder if it's something related to the previous books, or if it's something that's just like a mystery that has yet to be revealed.
I think he discovered something on that final battle of how to control it, and between him leaving that planet and now like he made a connection, he was able to like figure out how to like actually control it in the same way he can control the Nameless. Like, he's holding that thing and the Nameless like have to do what he says to do, and so somehow can have the blight with him and then tell it to do something. So that's the book.
I guess we'll see.
What theories are, and kind of we talked about already, but we probably think that the blight is going to be the thing that is his downfall. The Jedi or the Republic are going to use the blight against him. I'm still confident that next book will be the last book with Ro. But any other final theories?
There's another young adult novel too, right? So like maybe the two of those will be the last.
Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully they're not like important to the story. Like hopefully the young adult ones don't have like Porter Engle versus Vise, like, but that would be terrible.
Or like Ro dies in one of the other books, and like this one just like shows up, and it's like them just next book is just fixing the problems.
Ro dies in a comic.
Oh god. That'd be the worst. I'd probably not read any more.
The downfall of High Republic. That's what that would be.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't have any other theories. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. All my theories were killed at this book, so.
Yeah, because our big thing last book was like, the solution, the Jedi can't find the solution, but the Sith that are still around are behind the storm wall, and they're the ones that are going to, like, we thought that was going to happen. But also, I forgot to mention this, but like last book, they introduced that Anslin guy, the blind Jedi that fought the Jedi.
Oh my god! Yeah, I forgot about
back in the High Republic, like the Phase 2 era.
Yeah,
and like Yoda goes and finds him, like he's blind,
and
he's the only one to survive, and he might be the solution. And is that your dog?
Is that your dog?
Yeah. And he's like he. Looks at Elzar and it's like, I see myself in you, Elzar. I'm like, oh shoot, like what's gonna happen? And I guess that's done.
I totally forgot about that. My theory that they're gonna go to the planet the Nameless are from still stands. Like that seems like it's going to be important, because also Vernestra at like some point found some path coordinates to go to a random planet that she got from Mari Santeca. Remember that? Or was that in a book that's
probably in another book? But,
yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway.
But we should also say, we didn't mention this, but like Markion changed the home key thing on the past, so now like they can't go back and forth.
Body.
But the whole thing was pointless already. But like I was hoping somehow like Vernestra sees him without his shirt, because when she sees him, he doesn't have a shirt on, so she would have seen the path codes on his chest.
Oh, she might have. That's
so
a
I don't
good
know
point.
if she has a photographic memory where she can. Oh yeah, here's
she's
the
a
coordinates
Jedi.
on this. Left pec was this one, and on the belly button was this
Stop.
thing. Like,
that's a good one. I didn't pick up on that. Yeah.
So I don't know. So I'm hoping that tattoo, was it a tattoo or is it like a carving in the skin, like scarring?
I think he like a scarring. Yeah.
I hope like that comes back to play. Like they use it somehow. They get that, like he's like sends a video.
I mean, I would hope so, because like that's just like defeats the whole, like what was the point of that part of the story,
right?
And like if they're spending all this time like working on the, like I really feel like in probably that young adult novel they're gonna figure out how to go past the storm wall, because we've seen a version of it in this book, so we'll probably get them actually, like, come the next book, the storm wall is there going to be down or something, or Marshall and Road turned it off because they have to work together under him now or something. It doesn't leave me with a lot of hope. That's my only thing. It just like
I'm hopeful. I want to see how the story resolves. We've been with
hopeful.
it for this long. I want to see the end.
Yes, for sure. I'm not gonna not read the next one, because what was all my time wasted on there if that was the point?
Yeah, you got your $5. You might as well finish the last one.
Yeah. Like I'm in it to win it, but at the same time, I just felt like I was destroyed in this novel. But yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, let's listen to the voicemails.
All right. Let's transition over to everyone's favorite time of every episode, voicemail time. It's voicemail time. All right, cool. Well, we have 5 voicemails tonight.
Wow. So
First
many.
2 are from our favorite Northern Irishman, Jakob. He's recording. It got cut off because he ran out of time, and then he just jumps into the next one. So we're going to play him back to back, and he has some comments from his previous voicemails, and then he has a question for us as well. So let's take a listen to this.
Hello, it's me, Jakob, and I have a question and an answer to my question from a week ago. I love playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 because of the availability of playing multiple, like Storm. I like playing as the Empire, the Galactic Republic, the First Order. I mean nothing. And then also the fact it has a campaign is also good. But then at the odd time, Star Wars Battlefront 1 remastered, especially when it has survival on Sullust and stuff, is just really good. And the fact in multiplayer there's multiple Stormtrooper variants, and even though there is multiple Stormtrooper variants in 2, but Scout, Shore, Snow, and Sand, and Normal are not much of good selection in my opinion. I like being able to have all the customizable pauldrons and shock troopers and shadow troopers and stuff. And then my question is...
All right, next up, his question.
Oh, okay.
It cut out on me because I hit the limit on the first one. But my question is, why should I make a poll on Instagram or something to make EA make a third, even though they probably won't, because it's EA after all, and they just abandoned the series? But who knows? Well, they haven't quite abandoned it. They have done all the Jedi Survivor stuff, but tell me if I should make a poll on EA making a Star Wars Battlefront free. including the High Republic as playable
Well, that'd be
characters and stuff.
All right, cool. Thank you, Jakob. Yes.
Jakob, you're the best. I could
So
listen to your
great.
voice all day long, bro. It's dope. I love it. Makes me so happy
good.
inside.
Me too. Just the biggest smile.
Yeah.
Yep. So the question is, should he start a poll to get EA to make another Battlefront game? But he's like, shots fired. EA sucks at making video games.
Yeah. Well, Jakob, EA no longer has the rights to.
They don't have exclusive rights, so other companies, so they can still make whatever they want if they get the approval. But
I think they
did make some good games, like he said, the Jedi Survivor games or Jedi.
Yeah. But they're not making the newest game,
right? So,
and I don't think Star Wars. I think another company should make a 3.
That'd be cool.
But I don't think EA should.
Because I like the Battlefront games, like I've said, they're fun, and I haven't played online for like 5 years now, so like it's been that long since I played online. But if they made a Battlefront 3, I might have to dust off the old subscription and destroy some kids on the internet.
I'll play with some.
I'll destroy you on Battlefront 3. So yes, go make that poll. If you're on Instagram, tag us on Instagram.
Tag us on it, Jakob, and we'll reshare for you. But yeah, like I think if anything, like Epic Games could make a version of it, and I think it would be way better. And yeah, that's just my opinion. Right. Grace, you have an opinion on video games?
No, but I definitely think he should make a poll.
Yeah.
I fully support the poll. I don't really know what you guys are talking about otherwise.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Thank you, Jakob. It's always great to hear from you. Next up, who gentleman we've been hearing from for the last 3-4 weeks or so, E. So let's take a listen to his voicemail.
Hey, Empire Radio. This is E. Longtime listener, third time caller recorder. If you were to create the perfect Jedi and the perfect Sith, so 2 characters, what qualities or attributes or talents and skills, looks, whatever, would you pull from the EU or canon? So if you're going to do a Jedi, what qualities would you pull from Jedis throughout the EU and canon? And same thing for the Sith. And maybe say, hey, this will be a Jedi focused on this, conquering or defending or destroying or bringing life or studying, whatever. So pick a focus for your particular characters. Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you, E. So great question. If we could create a Jedi, what would be their characteristics? And if we could create a Sith, what would their characteristics be? So, I don't know. Do we have favorite like Force abilities that like you would want? Like super strong with like telekinetic powers? Or do you like want like
this
wisdom?
Could be a whole podcast itself.
I know. I feel like I needed to prep for this question.
I
know.
Building a D&D
when you think of a Jedi, what species do you want? Like, let's go with the species. Any specific species? Human or an alien species or what?
I feel like my top 3 are human, Togruta, or Miri Allen. Those are the 3 that I would pick. Because I like Ahsoka, and I just think Miri Allens look cool.
Yeah. Drew species?
I think Thrawn species would be a sweet Jedi.
A Chiss Jedi? Ooh, we
never
had that before.
Oh, I love that. Because they already have like their special like Chiss skill. I like
it's only girls, female Chiss are the only ones that have Force ability, and it fades.
I forgot about that. Yeah, okay, fine.
That'd be cool. For me, what would be my Jedi species? I don't know, like I want like something unique. Like, because it would then like affect like how they do their thing. So like I don't know, like that the Jedi Rancini or whatever, like that snake thing on the Jedi Council. Yeah, like that has like the big beard and stuff. Like that'd be cool. Yeah. Something like that. Like where it would be very unique on what it can do, like using the Force. So I'll go with like that species. All right, we'll go Force ability. What would be like a Force ability that they would be just the best at? Like it could be something telekinesis. It could be something more like mind reading. It could be something, anything.
I like healing. I think that's one that I'd like to see more of. Or I like flying. I think like being able to fly really effectively.
They fly now? What?
No, sorry.
does.
Starship like flying.
Oh,
piloting.
Oh, okay. I was like, they're just like Superman flying around.
I thought you were like pulling a Leia on us. I was like, okay.
No.
Leia flew.
Drew, what would be a Force ability?
Mind control, but like
Jedi mind trick, like really good at.
But like really good to the point where like because like Thrawn is very much like tactical and like all about that. So I think it would be something like that where he'd be really good at planning like battles and stuff, but then also like mind control where like he could be in a battle with someone and then control them to the point where they would
kind of like
die or like flee instantly. So like in a battle fight, he wouldn't even have to physically really do anything because he is so strong that he can literally just let them like they're just off themselves.
So kind of like, how Avar connects Jedi in battle, like he or she could connect anyone in battle to be like all like one mind and like do exactly what.
So he can like if people are attacking him, he can make them stop in their tracks because that's what they want to do. And like run the other way or surrender right away. I think that'd be kind of cool.
All right, cool. And also with a Sith, he asked. So any.
Well, you didn't say yours. What's yours?
Oh, what did I say? Yours? Oh, shoot. I like this was it called psychometry, when you can like touch an object and get its memory. Like super good with that. Like where a lot of times
like Avatar, where like your snake face thing could touch an object and it would know everything about it.
Avatar.
What? Avatar.
Yeah, not
the blue people.
Oh, the tail
the
thing.
Other Avatar. Yeah, I got confused. I was like, what?
The blue people. The blue ones.
Yeah,
but like,
I got it.
With like Cal Kestis and Ahsoka and like Quinlan Vos, it's like very special moments where they can do it. But like anything, like so powerful, like more options of like getting the memories. All right, cool. Now, quick, any Sith species or like something that you want them to like be super powerful in?
Sith species, I would pick Cad Bane species. What is he?
A Dun?
Is he?
No.
Duros.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
the Duros.
I think his look is sweet, and then special abilities, choke people from like across the galaxy,
like Vader.
Yeah, but
or Palpatine does it too. The Dooku in Clone Wars. Force choking across the galaxy. That's cool. Grace, any specific?
I just want an attractive Sith. Like Chimera and Anakin really work for me. Something like that.
Okay, so
you're on the Chimera train, huh? Oh, okay.
I mean,
shirt off.
So you weren't feeling Plagueis in the cave. You didn't like that.
Absolutely not. Like the ugly Sith, like Dooku, Vader, like
Dark
Palpatine.
Ew.
Okay. And then what would I want? Like, I think like just very strong like wisdom. Like the Force is not like Darth Plagueis the Wise, but like super super wise to point where like he just understand kind of like a Thrawn mind where it's like super wise and can just understand everything just by looking. It doesn't have to like do a lot of effort. So super like intellectual Sith would be what I'm looking for. All right, cool. Thank you, E. Hopefully that answered your question.
Sorry, we
next
didn't prepare enough.
Yeah. Next up, from our boy Shadrick. So let's take a listen.
Hey guys, Shadrick. In response to last week's voicemail, that music was for sure Kroger music, and I do work Kroger. I do nice grocery. grocery night stock. So that's why you guys be hearing me ripping cardboard and stuff. I need to stop doing that while I'm making a voicemail. Maybe I'll put the cardboard down next time. But anyways, like you said, give it to Shadrick. I'm flattered y'all said that because, man, the show could have been 10 times. Well, Act Like could have been 10 times better. But I'm not here for that. I'm actually here about Jedi Survivor because I just beat that game. So, spoiler warning for anybody that hasn't beat it. So, I guess at the end, they explained why we don't see Cal because he's in a whole different universe and he settled on the planet Tanalorr. So, do you think in Ahsoka Season 2, we're going to have Cal Kestis have a big first live action cameo? Because seems like Ahsoka is all about exploring like unknown galaxies, so that'd be pretty cool if they found Cal in the crew. So what are y'all's thoughts?
All right, cool. Thank you, Shadrick. It's always great to hear from you. So Jedi Survivor. So he mentions Gal Kestis is on Tantalorr. So for those of you who don't understand what that means, so I remember like in Star Wars Rebels when Zeb and his like species like went through that like that crazy like storm, space storm, and like on the other side of it was a planet that was safe or whatever. I think that's more so what Tanalorr is. It's like a planet inside this crazy storm thing. So I don't think it's in another galaxy because in the flashbacks, to the High Republic, the Nihil ships use paths to get there. So I think he's still in the galaxy. And so the third game that they're going to be working on, I think we're going to find his fate. But the question is, do you think we'll see Cal Kestis in the Ahsoka shows? So I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. He'd probably be like in his 60s or something in the timeline. But
because this is like before A New Hope, right? Currently?
Yeah, so this would be like 10 years before A New Hope, 9 years before A New Hope. So he's like mid-20s, I think. And so...
Yeah. Well, Jeremiah loves his Star Wars math, so...
Yep. So...
It'd be weird if they like cast him to play a 60-year-old.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird because he's not that old. So not even near that old. So I don't know. It'd be cool to have him. I just don't know if we're going to get him in live action. I think with Ahsoka, there's going to be a lot of world between worlds and mother.
We could get a young version of him in like a world between world.
Maybe, but like it seems like they're going to be going with the father, son, daughter, and Abeloth stuff with Ahsoka, and so I don't think they're going to put that storyline in there, unfortunately. But I think we'll get that story with his ending or what he does in the third game whenever that comes out in a few years. So, yeah. All right. Thank you, Shadrick, for that. And last up, from our favorite space pirate, he's back. So, Grace, do you remember back in the day when we had a pod racer?
I do remember, yeah.
Okay. So to get you caught up, you know, he won all those races.
Incredible.
He won his big race. He got super rich. He went, all right, he's like, I'm splurging all my money. I'm going on a galactic star cruise. And we didn't hear from him for months. Like, we thought he was a sellout. He forgot about us here at Empire Radio. Yeah. But we find out he comes back, you know, a few months later. He's like, yeah, our starship, the Starliner cruise, we got attacked by pirates.
No way.
And then he got taken by pirates, but then he's like, hey, I can help you. I can be a good pirate. So he became a pirate. And then he's the Pirate King, Gorian Shard, you know, the seaweed guy.
Yeah, of course.
Garrett performed a coup d'etat, as the kids would say, and he became the Pirate King. He came in possession of Darth Vader's mask after it was burned on Endor. And people were looking for it. And so he's trying to sell it to the Zygerians for 20 million credits. But in order to do that, he had to ship some large shipping containers.
Okay.
And while in transit, he opened it up and saw it was full of people.
Oh, no.
And so this is where the story picks up.
What?
Yes. Because, you know, Zygerians are the slave trade race, you know.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's getting good.
it's getting good. So that being said, here's how the story picks up. So let's take a listen to Garrett.
Hey Empire Radio, it's Garrett, continuing the story from last week. After all the cargo was unloaded, the uniformed officer asked if I had opened the cargo, to which I said, "People aren't cargo," signaled to my crew, who opened all the containers, and out came a flood of people armed with blasters and vibroblades, ready to take revenge. The battle lasted about 20 minutes because we were able to take them by surprise and quickly rescue others to join the fight. When we reached the control room, they had already surrendered because they were the only ones left. We asked them what exactly was going on here, and they told us it was a kyber crystal mining operation, and since Jeddah had been destroyed, it made it easier to locate and extract the kyber crystals. I asked them who they worked for and why they needed kyber crystals, but they would not answer. Knowing how dangerous the kyber crystals could be in the wrong hands, we decided to blow up what was left of the mining station, and we made sure to get out quick because of how unstable the kyber crystals can be. Not sure what kind of repercussions this will have on me and my crew, but we know we did the right thing, and we will face whatever comes next together. With the future unknown, who is someone you have been super thankful for recently? I made a friend not too long ago over Xbox who lives on the other side of the country, and playing games with him has brought me so much joy the past couple of months. I'm glad I found a new forever friend, so shout out to Tucker.
All right, cool. We're happy you did the right thing, because when you told us you were transporting slaves across the galaxy, we were like,
Here we
go.
But
You performed a second coup d'etat. Like, what the heck? Like, that's pretty cool. And you destroyed a mining operation. That's great. But his question, who have we been thankful for recently? He made a new friend online that he says is a forever friend. So, Tucker, if you're listening, what's up? Send in a voicemail. Does anyone come to mind that you're recently most thankful for in your life?
I'm grateful for my fellow interns at my summer job. They've been really great, and it's been nice to work with them over the course of the summer, and I'm sad that it's going to end soon. So, yeah, that's mine.
Drew?
Probably my friend Marco from Italy. He's in town right now.
And dang. Cool. How long is he in town?
He's in town for like a month, but they're also going to like Colorado. But so I hung out with him today with his kid is like,
I saw a picture of him and Miles on Instagram. I was like, who's that kid?
He's like a year younger than Miles, and so like they were like became best friends today. It was kind of fun to see my best friend's kid hanging out with my kid, and like they were like buddies, and his name is Milo. And
what?
Yeah, Miles.
So did he purposely do that to like?
I don't know. I never really asked him that, but they're Italian, so it's like whatever. But yeah, his kid is Milo and Miles, so Miles and Milo, and they're like holding hands. And we went to like the
so cute.
We went to the children's museum, and they played like all day. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
I really hope that Miles starts like doing the thing with the fingers, like the Italians do. Wouldn't that be funny if Miles started doing that? Like, Dad, I want some Cheez-Its or something.
Dude, it's so cool because like, their kid like is like, because his wife's from like my high school actually, which is
what?
There's
another whole world.
I introduced because he was a foreign exchange student. Short story, long story. But he was a foreign exchange student, and me and him became best friends like that year. And I introduced
he met his wife that year.
Well, no, because so she went to my school, he went to a different school, so I introduced them to each other, and they became like friends. And then over a course of like 5 years throughout college, they stayed in contact, and then they ended up getting married. And then I was like in their wedding and stuff. So like, so their kid knows English primarily, but also Italian. So like when we say bye to him, he's like ciao. And like says like certain Italian words, and it's like and Miles is like, wait, what's ciao? Like he's so confused. So it was kind of funny because he was like, oh, ciao ciao to Miles, and Miles is like, what's that mean?
Goodbye.
Yeah, it was like he's like bye, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah.
All right, cool. Well, now for me, I don't know. I really have been thankful for the last 6 weeks or whatever that we've gotten like all these new people on the voicemails. Like,
for sure.
We love hearing from like Will and stuff like we do all the time, but like we haven't heard from him in a while actually. But
or Lucy.
Or Lucy. Lucy, what are you doing with your life? Like, I know you're
looking at
busy
you.
with living up in the summer, but getting new people, you know, like Jakob, getting this Northern Irish accent and like meeting new people. Like, I'm super appreciative of like the people that like support us, especially when we had backlash. I don't know, Grace, you didn't know about all the backlash we got from our Acolyte reviews, but like, we got some major hate on specifically one episode, but like our fans that actually know us and understand us and like stick with us, like, I'm super thankful for you guys. You guys are the best.
It's a rough time to be a Star Wars creator and also support Disney. Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Garrett, and everyone else who sent in voicemails. I should mention that we did get another one in, but that was after this episode was supposed to be recorded. So like, make sure we have one for this next episode that we recorded in a few days. So I didn't play it. So if you like, why did you play mine? It'll be next episode. I just want to make sure we had one for next episode. All right. Well, we should just go over some social media and get out of here because it's going super late.
I'm so tired, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So yes, go in the description below if you are new to us and you want to get connected. There's a links.co/Empire Radio, link spelled with 2 I's. Click that landing page for everything Empire Radio. Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, fan email, voicemail. If you want to send a voicemail, click the link right there. Needlesslynerdy.com is a entertainment network that we're part of, so go check that out. So get connected with us. We'd love to hear from you. And join the Discord also. There's a link for the Discord. And in the Discord, we have a content suggestion tab where so we need 4 months of content before Skeleton Crew comes out. So if you have any ideas of stuff you want us to cover or talk about, please let us know, because after this is episode 269 and we've done everything so far. So we need more help getting content. All right, cool. Anything else, you guys?
Make sure you go follow Grace on Instagram. Grace, what's your channel? You can plug it.
It's gals_of the galaxy. I will admit that I have not posted on it super recently, but it's still a fun Instagram to follow. I'm hoping to get back into it and would love to chat and hang out with you guys.
Yeah, so go support Grace over there as she supports us with content. Pretty much.
Stop, as you guys support me, please. Just happy to have an excuse to talk about these super nerdy books with some other people.
Yep. Awesome. We love to have you. Anytime. So we're thankful
always
for you. Always
welcome.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. So you've been listening to another High Republic-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And I'm Grace.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.